welcome to
Totally
Booked
booked right now.
All right, we're a little rusty.
We are. It's been a very long time since we recorded, and it's kind of all my fault. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Today, this episode's part 2 of A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Very quickly, before we begin, I do have a housekeeping issue that I must address. I did pronounce Lucian's name Lucian the entire episode last time. And listen, okay, clearly that's how I say it in my head when I'm reading it. And I've only ever heard people say it out loud, Lucian. And and what blows my mind is you would say it, and then 2 seconds later, I was like, Lucian. And I would think to myself, like, right, Lucian, that's Lucian. God damn it. Lucian, that's how you say it. Then I would say it wrong.
It's okay. It was so funny because I was just like, everyone's got their own way of saying it. Like, I know that I'm going to mess up people's names. I mean, I said Prythian instead of Prythian at the very beginning of the episode. So, yeah.
I mean, are we saying it the right way? I don't know. It's all made up.
I don't know either, actually. That's all. Yeah,
I'm sure I was like pissing at least somebody off. I know Jared hasn't listened to the episodes. I guarantee if and when he does, he's going to be like, you were saying Lucian's name wrong. Did you know that? I'm like, yeah, I know.
I know.
Not anymore.
Thanks. I am aware. Yep.
That's it.
Yep. And then he'll listen to this one and be like, good job.
Yep.
Good job. Yes.
I know. Also, but I will say, the transcript, though, when I say it Lucian, it spells it the right way. When you say it Lucian, it spells it not the way it's spelled in the book. So I'm not saying that I'm right, but I'm not saying that I'm not right.
And let's be real, you're probably more right than me in any of
this.
I don't know that I have any room to.
I bet Sarah J. Maas has said it, and I could just find her saying it and then know for sure. But you know what? Another thing I saw, in that podcast episode, I saw her talking, and she was talking about, or maybe it was a different one, but I've always pronounced the name Manon from Throne of Glass, and she pronounces it Manon. I hate that. I'm actually not gonna ever say it like that way.
I'm so glad you said that, because Manon is how I said it in my head when I read that the first time, and then I was talking to someone and they're like Manon, and I'm like, who that? I don't even know who that is. Who are you talking about? Then they're like, hello, she's like a main character, and I was like, oh, you mean Manon? And they were like, well, that's not how I said it.
Not
so
Manon. Manana. I'm Manana.
Manana. Well, let's see here.
Okay.
All of hers. I mean, did you say kale when you were reading? Because I didn't.
Oh, I think
it was Cole.
I said it Chol.
Chol.
I don't know.
Chol.
That's the nice thing about reading it in your mind is you can just be like, there's that blurb of letters. I don't need to say that in my mind. I'm just going to skim right over that and know who they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah. All right. All right. Well, let's speak. Take us away.
All right. Let's dive in. So, just as a little reminder of where we left off, they had just found the head of the High Fae male in the garden. His severed head was on a statue pike.
Yeah.
So that was kind of where we left off.
With the Night Court insignia on it.
Tricky. All right. Tamlin is called away right after they find the head on the stake, and he is gone for the first time since Feyre has been there overnight, and this is slightly distressing to her. However, when she awakes the next morning, there's the sound of music from the garden, and maypoles are being set up. Alice tells her that it's summer solstice. Wow, it's just been weeks of her painting and fucking around with Tamlin and Lucian, and she didn't realize how long it's been since she arrived. Feyre is wondering if her family is also going to the very small and non-religious celebration the town will have, and she hopes that there's not the same type of ritual needed to be performed as the rite from Calanmai. She's worried Tam Tam's going to have to bone someone else again.
Yeah, not the maiden.
Alice pretties Feyre up for the celebration, and Lucian remarks that she looks positively fey. Like, you're so fetch, Feyre. It's like how I imagine.
Beautiful. So beautiful.
Tamlin also remarks that she looks lovely. She's surprised that she's allowed to join them, and there's some snarky banter between Feyre and Lucien. But Tamlin says, "Yeah, you can come to this. It's really just a party tonight. It's not that big of a deal."
Yeah, when he says, "Unfortunately for you and your neck, tonight's just a party." Like,
Lucien. I love him so much. I just love him. Feyre is amazed by all the different fairies in one place, along with all the food and the drinks that are available. Tamlin has some schmoozing to do, and Lucien keeps ditching her. So Feyre eats alone and just kind of watches the festivities for a while and thinks about painting the scene. Feyre goes to get some wine when Lucien approaches her and warns her against the fairy wine. She's like, "Well, you also told me that those witch berries were harmless and they made me half delirious." So she's just like, "I don't trust you saying anything anymore." But contextually, we know fairy wine is not great for humans. So it's not like probably unnecessary for him to say that.
She's
But
gonna be high as fuck.
yeah. The wine impacts Feyre immediately. Yep. And it removes Lucian's glamour. She just starts staring at him and all of his enhanced features, and she like giggles at him. She's like, "I'm going to paint you." Like, oh my God, you're so pretty. She's drunky pants at this point, and starts wandering over to where the other Fae are dancing. Lucien is not amused and calls her a drunk fool a few times, but the wine has really loosened her up and she starts dancing anyway. She then locks eyes with one of the fiddlers, and it's Tamlin. Lucien runs up to him and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I failed at babysitting her." And Tamlin's eyes never leave Feyre, and he's like, "No worries, bud. I've got this. I've got it from here." She keeps dancing and they're making heart eyes at each other, and Feyre feels like he's playing just for her. Tamlin stops playing and pulls her into the middle of the dancers so that they can dance together. Everything became a blur of color and sound, and he was the only object in it, tethering me to sanity, to my body, which flowed and burned every place that he touched.
Yeah. She's also like, "I tip my head back to the heavens and let Tamlin's music fill all of me." I was like, "Oh, really?"
Really?
Also, this felt like so cringy to me. I was like, I hate all of
Like,
like
this would
her
be like,
dancing and like,
I think it would be really awkward for sure. And like, hey, but if
right.
she's happy and she's letting her inhibitions
Yeah.
go a little bit, like, okay, like have some fun, girl. And I bet she's kind of like,
Mhm.
"This is what I missed out on at Calanmai with the dancing. This is what I could have been doing." So they take a break from their dancing, and Feyre wants to keep dancing, but he wants to show her something else. It's getting close to dawn, but he brings her to a meadow where little firefly-like fairies called will-o'-the-wisps that light up and start singing, and he asks her to dance with him here. They have a very sweet, slow dance, and they're looking at each other, and Tamlin says to her, "I'm thinking I might kiss you." And Feyre says, "Then do it." It's
God.
kind of, I know. Okay. And he gives her a much more sweet and gentle kiss than when he bit her neck. And then she's kind of pouty, like, "That's it. I want more." But he tells her to just come with him because he has something else that he'd like to show her. They reach the top of the hill and they watch the sunrise, and it takes Feyre's breath away. Feyre is thinking about her conversation with her dad about hoping for a better world and that she didn't think that one existed until now. They share another deep kiss, and Feyre thinks it's the happiest moment of her life.
The end. That's a great place for the book to stop.
Kidding, not the end, not the end. But it would have, I mean, that could have just been it. She could have just sailed off into the sunset. But there's a blight, Kirsten. There's a blight. There's problems
There's
in the
some
Feylands.
unanswered questions.
All right. They're eating breakfast the next morning, and Lucien is like, "Oh, so where did you two end up last night?" with his like wiggly eyebrows. But he kind of regrets bringing it up because Tamlin and Feyre start flirting hard with each other. Like, "Oh, it's just a few kisses." And Tamlin, all growly back, goes, "Oh, are you sure about that?" And Lucian's like, "Ugh, Cauldron, save me from this. Like, this is terrible."
Yeah, that is so like, control yourselves.
I know, my God, he's sitting right there. Anyway, so then to really bring the vibe down, Lucien tells Tamlin that he got a letter from the Winter Court that 24 of their younglings were taken by the Blight. He says all the courts are getting very worried, although it seems that the Night Court has managed to remain unscathed. This is very scary sounding to Feyre. The blight can actually kill people and innocent children, no less. Tamlin goes to respond, but leaps to his feet and extends his claws. He's totally in warrior mode and tells Lucian to go hide Feyre near the curtains. Lucian just stands in front of her and glamours her so she won't be sensed by whoever is coming and has them so worried. A male casually strolls in through the doors. It's the same one that saved her from the rapey fairies on Fire Night. He's just as smoking hot as she remembers.
Right. And she thinks, I'd never dared to paint him, and now I knew I would never have the nerve to. It's like, stop painting everything. For the love of God.
Well, she can't write
But
down his description, so it's her only way to
I guess that
she
is
can't
true.
journal. She can't journal.
Just to get it out.
Somehow. Yep. What do you want, Rhysand? Tamlin angrily asks. It's obviously very tense between them. Rhysand kind of mocks Tamlin for just sitting back and letting the blight happen and how much worse things are getting when Lucian interrupts and says, "What do you know about anything? You're just Amarantha's whore." Rhysand doesn't like that one bit and retorts with, "At least I haven't bided my time among the hedges and flowers while the world has gone to hell."
Right. He has his reasons. We don't know what they are.
We
And
don't.
finally, I'm like, we have a name
For
for
the
she.
the scary she that is scary. She's the
Mhm.
problem. Amarantha, yes. Rhysand then really digs into Lucian about him leaving the Autumn Court and how Lucian's mother is still grieving him leaving. I mean, take a brief pause. Can we just remember this really quick? That Lucian's mom is very sad that he left the Autumn Court. Pin that for later, okay? Okay. Yes.
Pinned.
Pinned. And Lucian is super mad, and Rhysand is like, "Tut, tut, tut. Is that any way to speak to a high lord?" Feyre is thinking that's why those fairies were so afraid of him on Calanmai. He mocks Tamlin for the way he runs his court because Tamlin doesn't make Lucian apologize. And there's obviously more of a history between their families than Feyre knows about. Rhysand gets in Lucian's face and is like, "Watch yourself. I've been in battles and war long before you were born. Just ask Tamlin. I taught him a lot of what he knows." And Tamlin is kind of exasperated and asks Rhysand to just go. They'll see each other again soon enough. Rhysand tells Tamlin that she is getting ready for his arrival and will be happy to let her know that based on what he sees, Tamlin may be willing to reconsider her offer. Rhysand then notices that there's a place setting for 3 at the table.
Rookie
Rhysand releases
mistake.
them. Yeah. Oopsie. They got her hidden, but not evidence of a third person being there. Rhysand releases some magic to remove Feyre's glamour and sees her behind Lucian. He remembers her.
Yeah. I see you ignored my warning to stay out of trouble. Stop it. Rhys.
Stop.
Stop that right now.
When he asks who she is, Lucian tells him that she's his betrothed. Rhysand doesn't believe this, says that he thought Lucian was still hung up on his commoner lover that his father had killed. So just as a little bit of backstory, it seems like this is widely known that Lucian's
Yeah.
dad, it's not just like a Tamlin knows because he's his best friend thing. It's,
Right.
everybody knows what happened.
Sure, it was like a spectacle.
Yeah, probably major gossip around the courts
Yeah.
when that happened. Lucian tries to attack him, but Rhysand tells him that he can make the Autumn Court suffer if he tries to fight him, and especially threatens Lucian's mother and makes some additional cutting remarks about Lucian's taste in partners. Tamlin tells Rhysand to leave again, but he just pushes Lucian aside to stand in front of Feyre. Neither Tamlin or Lucian do anything to stop him. Can we? I'm sorry. Literally, they just. I know. Don't.
Rhys could
I know,
squish
but
their mind.
I know. She don't know that. I mean, in her, like, if I was her in this scenario, she doesn't know
Right.
what he can
His
do.
powers
So I
are
would
or
be like,
whatever. Yeah.
"Hello, defend me." Like, why are you guys just standing there? But
Just a taste of what's to come, Feyre.
I
Get
know.
ready.
Well, she's about ready to find out what he can do a little bit. So,
Yeah.
Feyre feels her body tense up and what feels like a metal claw scraping against her mind. And Tamlin says, "That's enough." Rhysand is still watching Feyre and remarks how easily human minds are to shatter. And then he starts announcing to the room all of Feyre's fantasies about Tamlin. So embarrassing.
That is
so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I was Rhysand at this point, I would have doubled down and been like, "I'm sure that you are Lucian's betrothed when you're having fantasies about your, future
Yeah, right.
husband's best friend here." I don't believe you one bit, but Rhysand releases Feyre's mind and she drops to the floor and she just feels really icky from the whole mind invasion thing. Rhysand says, if it's any consolation, she would have been the one for you. And you might have gotten away with it a bit late, though. She's more stubborn than you are. Feyre's like, huh? What are you talking about? And then Rhysand follows up with, Amarantha will enjoy breaking her, almost as much as she'll enjoy watching you as she shatters her bit by bit. Tamlin begs Rhysand not to tell Amarantha about Feyre. Like, he gets down on his knees and begs Rhysand not to tell Amarantha about her. Rhysand then makes Lucian do it too. He's like, well, you need to also beg, basically. Tamlin asks if he's going to tell Amarantha, and Rhysand just shrugs and is like, maybe, maybe not. And this really pisses Tamlin off, and he snarls in Rhysand's face, but Rhysand is not bothered by this, and again asks Feyre for her name. She lies and tells him that her name is Claire Bedor. This is the name of a girl that was friends with her sisters back in their village. With this, Rhysand leaves and tells them he's looking forward to seeing them under the mountain. Oh, scary, scary. Okay. Tamlin asks Lucian and Feyre to leave after Rhysand does, and Feyre can hear Tamlin roaring and smashing furniture from her room upstairs. Feyre is thinking about all that she had learned in that little meeting and is reeling from the dangers of the Blight and how powerful this Amarantha woman must be to have the High Lords under her thumb.
I do kind of love the fact that, like, it's a lady evil villain and
Yes.
that she's like, we don't have enough sociopathic, like, women, you know what I mean? That are just cruel and power hungry. Love that.
Mhm. I do. I agree.
Women in male-dominated fields, yes.
Love it. Tamlin comes to Feyre's room and is obviously so defeated. He tells her he's sorry and that he's sending her home. She asks what about the treaty, and he's like, it doesn't really matter. I'll deal with it. She wonders if she did something wrong, and he tells her that he's sending her back for her protection. She seems to want to stay and help, and he's like, I can't even stop what's happening to me or my lands. I appreciate it, but you can't do anything to stop what's happening. And we will come back to this in a little bit later point in time. This little comment that he makes here about that.
Yeah.
Amarantha is going to want to get to Feyre, and he really doesn't want that to happen. He's terrified for her. He tells her not to tell anyone where she actually was, let them believe the story about staying with her rich aunt. Feyre wants to stay and to fight, and they argue over this. Feyre wants to know when she can return, and Tamlin is like, I don't know if you can come back, and you really sure as hell shouldn't come back at this point. Like, I'm sending you home. As much as I don't really want to, you should not come back. He tries to placate her, though, with like a maybe someday, like just very vague. Yeah,
Maybe, maybe.
maybe. Will you come to my cottage this summer? I could recite the whole thing. I won't. Anyway. Wrong book. Tamlin kisses Feyre and pulls her into his lap, and things get steamy. There's a bit of sadness to the whole thing, though, and he tries to stop them before things really get started, but she pushes for all of it to happen. And it does. After a slow second round, Tamlin tells her that she's got to leave the next day. So she asks him to stay with her that night. As they're cuddled up and Feyre fades to sleep, she thinks she hears Tamlin tell her that he loves her. Feyre, I know. Feyre wakes up alone the next day, and Alice helps her get her things. Her and Alice both agree that they don't like goodbyes, and they tell each other to look after their families. Lucian and Tamlin are waiting for her in the front hall, and Lucian asks Tamlin to let her stay for a few more days, but Tamlin is adamant that she goes now. Lucian is so mad at him and storms off. He won't even say goodbye to Feyre. Tamlin reminds Feyre to keep up her aunt's story, and she tells him that he can keep all of her paintings. Both of them are obviously emotional about Feyre leaving, but neither of them seem to really be able to say anything to each other to convey their feelings. There's some sweet kisses and soft touches as Tamlin gets her into the carriage. As she's pulling away, Tamlin tells her he loves her. She's like, oh my God, I didn't imagine it. But Feyre can't say it back. She feels like that would just hurt both of them more, and she feels like her heart cracks in two.
Like, you think you're never going to see him again and you can't just say it?
I know. That's the whole thing that I don't get. It's like you could tell from the night before that he's trying to placate you by telling you that maybe someday that you guys could see each other again. But really
Right.
he was just saying that to try to make you feel a little bit better. Like you couldn't pick up on the
Right.
fact that there's a really slim chance that you'll ever see him again.
Yeah.
Why not? What are you going to lose by confessing your love for him at this
Right.
point?
Right. And don't you think
Yeah.
it's hurtful that, like, he said it to you and you didn't say it back?
Now he said it
Like,
twice. The first time
meh.
you could have, like, said, "Oh, I don't know, maybe he wasn't actually saying that
Right.
to me." This time, though, there's no doubt about it. So,
Yeah, that's
eh.
dumb.
She feels the tingling of magic and falls asleep. When she awakes, she's going up this long manicured driveway and she can't figure out where the heck she is. Some servants and footmen come out to help her out of the carriage when she looks up and sees her sisters coming out of the front door of this massive chateau. They barely recognize her, and Elaine is kind of gushing over her being back and how hard everything must have been for her to deal with the death of their aunt. But Nesta is like, you've changed. Why are you so quiet? What's going on? Nesta has always been much more calculating, and Feyre wonders how long Nesta will buy her story. Elaine starts telling Feyre about how a week after she left, a man came along asking her father to invest his fortune for him, and things went well. And then they also found his lost ships with all the cargo that he had lost years ago. So now they've reestablished their wealth. Yay!
A
Oh, wait.
miracle.
Miracle. Tamlin did all of this for her family. He not only made sure that they were looked after, but went above and beyond to re elevate their social status. This makes Feyre even more sad that she had to leave him. Nesta is still very standoffish, and Feyre knows that she can tell something isn't right. Feyre's father is so happy to see her that he starts crying, but all she can think about is the mail she left behind.
Yeah, Farrah's also being, how you say, kind of a bitch. She's like thinking about all of the human servants, how they're unfinished, graceless creatures of earth and blood, and she's like they're utterly human. And like Feyre pre Prythian would be so mad at herself for thinking that, and now she's like this uppity fairy whore.
She's one of the children of the blessed now. She's judging all
Yeah.
the humans so
Yes.
hard. Yeah, yeah.
Also, I must say, the word
Mhm.
utterly is utterly overused in this series. I'm so fucking over it. It pisses me off.
Yeah.
I looked it up and I have a bundle of these books. It's
Mhm.
used like 100 times
Oh, in all of them
in
because you
all of
have,
them
like
and like 20 times in this book. I was like,
Ooh.
it's too
Well,
much.
that is a lot. That is a
It's
lot.
too much.
Mm.
Anyway.
Too much, yeah. So Farah is settling in at their new home, and she finds it pretty easy to lie about her time with this fake aunt. She tells them that she just read to her, stayed by her bedside, and 2 weeks ago, when the aunt died, she left everything to Farah, and so Farah came home. Tamlin sent her back with trunks full of gold and raw jewels. Her children's children would be taken care of with the amount of wealth that he sent her home with. Tamlin also sent a quote unquote peddler with a tonic to help Feyre's father's limp and leg, and she feels like her father looks so much brighter and has so much more hope. Um, more hope than she's seen since her mother died. Feyre is sitting with Elaine in the garden, and Elaine is gushing over all the flowers and wants Feyre to go with her to the continent next year to see the tulip fields. And this just reminds Feyre of the beauty of the gardens at Tamlin's estate. She mentions that going next spring would mean that they'd miss the socialite season. So think Bridgerton, like ladies on the ton, out and about, and
Mhm.
looking for eligible bachelors, okay?
Mhm.
Elaine says, though, that she's not too worried. There will be others, but does confess that it was so strange coming back. Everyone just seemed to glaze over their 8-year absence. Nesta has been acting strange, too. She stopped accepting social invitations and just glares at any of Elaine's friends, and Elaine wants Feyre to talk to her about it. Okay, this is interesting to me because why Elaine and Nesta were the closer of the two sisters anyway. So why is Elaine suggesting that Feyre go and talk to her about why she's acting so weird? Like it's just kind of an odd comment
Right.
from Elaine to be like, and maybe it was just like a last ditch, like, hey, we've missed you, and I don't know what's going on with her. Maybe you can get it out of her. I don't know, but it
Right.
just
Like a new person that hasn't tried
hmm
yet.
Yeah.
But
So but I still thought it was a weird ask of Elaine to do that. So
mhm.
then Elaine reveals that Nesta tried to go see Feyre. She was gone for about a week, but her carriage broke down and she had to return. Interesting. Elaine is examining Feyre closely and tells her that she's changed. Feyre feels it too. Elaine tells her that there's a glow, a je ne sais quoi that wasn't there before, and she knows it's from her time in Prythian. Elaine is flourishing in their return to this lifestyle, and Feyre is glad that if nothing else, it brought back light to her sister. Feyre can't keep her mind off of Tamlin and keeps hoping that this is all a bad dream and that she'll wake up in the Spring Court Manor. She decides to go back to their old cottage in their old village. Her main purpose of this journey is to just go to the poorest parts of the village and just hand out some of her new fortune. And after she does that, she ends up running into Isaac Hale and a pretty young woman that she assumes is his new wife. Feyre admits that he looks like he's grown up a bit or he's grown into his role as a husband. But it was kind of nice that she ran into him because she realizes that she only feels gratitude for him and the time that they had spent together. She has no feelings of longing or wishes that things would have turned out differently between them.
But it's
Feyre's
like
father. Oh,
you
sorry, go
never
ahead.
thought you were gonna feel that either, you
Yeah.
know?
You
Like,
know,
"Wow, I feel nothing," but, like, I was never in love with him, and I didn't
yeah. The only
like,
thing that I
okay.
could think back to is that she did like paint his hand and
I
their
mean, yeah, he was her one
yes,
colorful
her
thing back in her
yes.
old life or
Yeah.
whatever, but
Yeah, so just kind of but I think that, like, that was probably just a nice little closure moment for her, like, because I
yeah.
think maybe even when she originally got taken, she did kind of admit that, like, she was kinda worried and she still cared about him, but this
Mhm.
just kinda
Yeah.
solidified those feelings were just not on a love level for sure, so,
Right, right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. Feyre's father is throwing a ball for her return in 2 days' time. While this should be a happy occasion, she can only think about what Tamlin is going through beyond the wall. She can't even bring herself to paint. The human realm just feels so dull compared to where she was in Prythian.
My, how the turntables.
Turntables. Yeah. All you wanted to do was go home, and then you could go home, and all you want to do is go
Yeah.
back. Make up your mind, lady. Oh my God.
Uh,
God. Feyre is working in Elaine's garden and looking at her scarred, dirty hands when Nesta comes up and tells her that nothing is going to help her fit in. Nesta asks her why Feyre is even here, and Feyre's like, well, this is my home. And Nesta says, no, I think your home is very far away. Feyre starts to bring up the fake aunt, but Nesta goes, there was no aunt. Your beast's little trick didn't work on me. And she's holding up a piece of their old table from their cottage that Tamlin's claw marks are in. Oh my God. We just, man, time out. Okay. This is really fucking important to Nesta lore, everybody. Okay. I'm just, okay.
yeah.
She thinks, now Nesta thinks that it was the iron that she was wearing that protected her from the glamour. I think it's something very different, but we need to get through a
Yeah.
few more books before we get to that. I just wanted to draw attention to this fact from this book when this happens.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally. I
Yeah.
mean, Nesta seems very other, and Feyre has always kind of described her that way and, talked about her as like a queen, the way she
Mm-hmm.
holds herself, her, yeah, just her attitude and all that
Mm-hmm.
too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, right, it's like, what is their parentage? Because clearly, like, Feyre and Nesta are on a different level, and Elaine is just like, I don't know, some little, like, yeah, flower child that
Sorry, head
isn't
in the
all
clouds
there
a little bit. Yeah,
mentally. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know if we'll do this in a bookmark, but I do have a list of questions that are
That's
really
fun.
important to this series that I think are more just like discussions, like where we can maybe try to draw from. So maybe we'll talk about this,
Yeah.
but this is one of them. Nesta's otherness, their parentage. It's a very interesting, very lot of different fan theories on this.
Yeah.
And I really hope we find out a little bit more in the next book because it's driving me crazy. So, anyway, back to this one though. We've got a long ways to go before that. So,
Yeah.
Nesta describes Elaine and their father going from sobbing to just being totally fine and going along with the aunt story. But Nesta would look at their table and know that she wasn't crazy. She remembered Feyre being taken by the beast. Nesta did try to go after her. She made it to the wall but couldn't find a way to get through. Nesta ended up going back to that mercenary who Feyre had sold the pelt to and had asked her to get to the wall. Feyre thinks in her head, my father didn't possess the courage or the anger to come after me. If anything, he would have hired someone to do it for him. But Nesta had gone with that mercenary. My hateful, cold sister had been willing to brave Prythian to rescue me. Feyre looks at Nesta and asks why she never married Thomas. Nesta replies with, I realized he wouldn't have gone with me to save you.
Yeah, I was like, who the fuck is this and what have you done with Nesta? Like, this seems so I was like, "What?"
hmm Yes, yes. Uh, this is huge to Feyre in giving her a better understanding of Nesta's ways. She's describing Nesta. She shrouded the loss of our mother, the downfall, in an icy rage and bitterness because her anger had been a lifeline, the cruelty a release. But she had cared. Beneath it all, she had cared, and perhaps loved more fiercely than I could comprehend, more deeply and loyally. Let's just remember this for the future, okay,
Yeah,
everyone? Yeah,
I know,
yeah.
and it's like, that's great, but I'm still, like,
I know.
mad at
Doesn't
her.
change the fact that doesn't change the fact that she was a bitch, okay?
Yeah, yeah,
Trust me.
totally. It's like,
There's
Nesta
no question. Yeah,
yeah, you do actually need to apologize at some point, please. That would be cool.
that would be
That would go a
wonderful.
long
Yes.
way for me, you know?
Yeah.
Fair probably doesn't need you to, but I do.
I do to get me to
Yeah.
like you, I'm gonna need you to apologize at some point, yeah. Uh, Nesta tells Feyre, to tell her everything that happened, and so Feyre does. It leaves Nesta basically speechless, and then she just asks Feyre to teach her how to paint. Nesta's just like, "Well, that was weird. Can you teach me how to paint?"
Yeah.
Just her being kinda like, "Okay, well."
Like, whoa.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know what to do with that. So Feyre does try to teach Nesta how to paint, but Feyre herself was self-taught, and she goes a lot based on her feelings, whereas Nesta is a much more structured way of thinking, and it doesn't end up going very well. They see their father and Elaine at the bottom of the stairs, and Nesta still hates their dad. She comments how she wonders if he's just forgotten the years that he almost let them starve to death. Feyre does point out to Nesta, probably for the first time ever, that Nesta spent everything Feyre earned. And Nesta responds with, I knew you could always get more. And if you couldn't, I wanted to see if he would ever try to do it himself, if he would ever go out and fight for us. I couldn't take care of us, not the way you did. I hated you for that, but I hated him more. And I still do. Nesta also reveals that she blames their father for letting their mother die. She doesn't feel like he did nearly enough to try to find a cure. And when Feyre tries to defend him, Nesta points out that Feyre would do anything to save her High Lord. And Feyre cannot refute this. The ball for Feyre is pretty boring, and she sticks close to Nesta the whole night, who does a great job of keeping people away with her scowls. All Feyre can think about is how guilty she feels for not trying to do anything to help Tamlin, to try to figure out what exactly is going on about leaving him. The next day, Feyre's father is asking her if any young men had caught her eye from the night before, and she just kind of brushes this off, and then he brings up that he wants to buy the Bedor land since none of them survived. A fire had burned down their home with everyone still inside. The only body they didn't find was the daughter Claire. Uh-oh, that's the name
Mm,
Feyre gave Rhysand as her own. Ugh,
yeah, and
what
she'd heard
happened
people
in
talking about that in the village when she was
Mhm,
there. It was Thomas and his friends. They were
mhm,
talking about the
yes.
house burning down, but she didn't realize, I think it was that
She
house.
didn't connect the dots that it was their house until
Mhm.
this
Yeah,
moment, yeah,
just now.
yeah. Feyre looks at Nesta and instructs her not to tell anyone her name or that she was there. She tells them to hire guards and to get on a ship and leave the second that they hear word of any dangers or anything strange about what's happening beyond the wall.
It's like, "Just go now."
I know, why are
Like,
we
shit's
why
about to go down. Yeah.
Yeah. Things are not looking good. You should leave, yeah.
Like, yeah, the
Especially
bad
now
thing already happened.
you've got all your wealth now too. Sail away,
Oh,
sail
yeah.
away.
True, true, true. But, yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to stop anybody from Prythian that comes to get you.
Not you humans. No,
Right.
probably
Like,
not.
that's
Yeah.
just not happening.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
Yep. Elaine and their father are very confused, but they blink their eyes a few times as if coming out of a dream. It's like the glamour was fading away. But Nesta just takes these instructions in stride. She connects the dots. Feyre gave Rhysand a fake name, and then the fairies came and burned her house down. She tells them briefly of the blight and how she's worried that Tamlin is in danger. She quickly goes to pack, and Nesta reiterates what her father said when she first left with Tamlin: do not come back. And Feyre accepts this as the gift that it's meant to be, that they will be okay without her. And if she feels like she needs to go, she should do it. She tells Nesta that the fairies can, in fact, lie and that iron does nothing to them. Thank you for telling your siblings that before you left, because apparently
Yeah.
that's very incorrect information about the fairies that has been passed down. And she tells them that the fairies' only real weakness is the ashwood. Feyre tells Nesta that there is a better world out there, and Nesta says, yeah, as long as it's not with the fairies. But she would love to strike out and make a name for herself on her own, and Feyre thinks there's not much her sister couldn't accomplish if she sets her mind to it. Elaine is waiting for Feyre with a horse and hugs her and tells her that she remembers all of it now. She wants Feyre to be safe, and hopefully they can go see the continent together one day. Their father is nowhere to be found.
He sucks.
Pin in that as well. Yeah, I know. Put a pin in that
for
one
now.
too. Yeah. For now. So Feyre leaves. She doesn't feel like she should delay any longer and rides north the rest of the day until it's too dark to see. She rises early the next morning and rides the rest of the second day as well. On the third day, she arrives to a seemingly invisible boundary that her horse would not go any further past. Feyre also could not cross this invisible boundary, and it took her 2 days to find a spot where 2 stones were placed across from each other, and they had some markings on them. So this was a gate or opening in through the wall into Prythian. Feyre urges her horse through and feels the sting of magic in her nose, and she recognizes the surrounding trees. She's indeed in the spring court. She knocks an arrow and rides in silence until she sees the manor up ahead, but notices how quiet it is. Not like when Tamlin had glamoured everything, but like quiet. The gates to the manor are open but bent, like they were forced open. The manor was an absolute wreck, and there was no one there. There was an obvious fight and struggle, but Feyre noted no bodies were left behind, so she's hoping they all were just taken and not killed. There didn't seem for there to be enough blood around for that to have been the case anyway. She's examining the dining room and using her tracking skills to try to figure out what had happened when she hears a noise from down the hall. She tries to hide herself when a medium-height, cloaked figure comes into the room. It's Alice! Feyre is frantic. Yay! Oh, thank God! And she tries to confirm that Tamlin and Lucian are alive, but Alice is like, what the fuck are you doing here? He told you to stay away.
Yeah.
Alice is like, not very happy to see her, honestly.
Right.
But Feyre tells her, sorry.
It's like, did you just meet me? I never listen. I'm back, baby.
I literally listen to anything Tamlin tells me to do. Okay. Literally nothing.
Like literally.
But Feyre tells Alice that she felt like she had to do something to try to help. Alice tells Feyre Amarantha took them to her court under the mountain. Feyre wants to know why, though, so Alice finally tells her the story.
Yes, we love an exposition dump. And this is a big one.
This is a big one.
I'm always like, yes, finally, information.
I know, because we've heard so many little bits and pieces, and now it's all going to come together. Hopefully. The 7 times 7 years were over, and he hadn't shattered her curse, so she summoned all the High Lords to her court this time, to make them watch her break him. Amarantha is the High Queen of Prythian, and it didn't used to be this way, and it was just the 7 High Lords who ruled. But 100 years ago, she came to these lands as an emissary from the island to the west, Hybern. She went from court to court trying to promote trade with Hybern, trying to make amends for her own actions and that of Hybern during the war. She was one of King Hybern's most ruthless generals. Her sister, I'm going to mispronounce this, Clythia? Is that
okay?
Close?
Yeah, I feel like Clythia makes it sound more like regal, because in my mind I was saying it Clythia.
Yeah.
And I was like, that girl's getting made fun of in school if that's her name.
So Clythia it is.
So I'm going to go with Clythia, like she's Greek.
Clythea, okay. Okay, so Amarantha's sister, Clythea, fought by her side until Clythea fell in love with a human warrior, Jurian. Clythea didn't realize that Jurian was using her to gather information about Amarantha's forces. After months of barely stomaching being her lover and getting the information he could, he tortured and butchered Clythea with ashwood and left her for Amarantha to find. To say that Amarantha has hated humans ever since would be an understatement.
Yeah.
When the treaty was Ugh, yeah, I would be pissed too. When the treaty was signed, she killed all of her own slaves instead of freeing them. When she showed up 100 years ago, all the High Lords believed her when she said that her sister's death had changed her, and they were happy to have open lines of trade with Hybern again. Little did they know that she was bringing her forces with her on the new trade ships, and she decided that she wanted to take Prythian for herself. Her plan was to use the Prythian as a war base to destroy the human lands. She knew she couldn't take on the seven High Lords, even with her amassing forces. So 49 years ago, she held a ball and slipped a potion into the High Lords' drinks that left them defenseless, and she stole their powers from where they originated inside their bodies, leaving them with only the basest elements of their magic. This was how she was able to take control. She built a palace under their sacred mountain in the heart of Prythian where she rules from. Amarantha is the blight. She is the sickness on these lands. The borders are collapsing because she's making it so. The creatures she was sending over the boundary lines were to test how much strength Tamlin still had. Alice tells Feyre she could have been the one to free Tamlin and his power if she had not been so blinded by her heart. Feyre's like, what are you talking about? I didn't
Yeah.
know this or I wouldn't have left. Alice tells her that Tamlin and Amarantha's family go way back to before the war, and that the Spring Court had aligned with Hybern to keep the humans as slaves. Amarantha came to want Tamlin in a sexy way, but he was wary of her after all that he had heard that she had done during the war, and particularly on what she did to Jurian. Alice does not explain here what happened to Jurian, but it's yucky. We'll find out soon what she did to Jurian. Okay. So when she showed back up 100 years ago, he would not meet with her. He sent Lucian as his emissary, and because Tamlin didn't show up, Amarantha took Lucian's eye as punishment. And that's what happened to Lucian's eye.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
There it
Yeah.
is.
So there it is. Yeah. After this happened, Amarantha held a masquerade at her court under the mountain to try to make amends, saying that the masquerade theme was so that Lucian could hide his face and to also honor Tamlin's shape-shifting abilities. She invited the entire spring court, even the servants. Tamlin felt like this was a way to end the conflict without bloodshed, so they all went. Once they were there, Amarantha announced that peace would come if Tamlin agreed to become her lover and consort, and he responded that he'd sooner take a human to bed, to marry a human, than ever to touch her. Maybe she would have let this go if her sister hadn't preferred a human's company, which led to her death. Amarantha tells Tamlin that she'd give him a chance to break the spell that she put on him to steal all of his power, but he needed to find a human girl willing to marry him within 7 times 7 years. Not just any human, a human with ice in her heart and who hated the Fae. A human girl willing to kill a faerie. But the faerie to be killed had to be one of his own men that he had sent across the wall. She needed to kill the faerie out of hatred alone, just as Jurian had killed Clythea. Feyre realizes the reasoning behind taking her because of the treaty was indeed a lie. She just killed Andras on the day that he had been sent over the wall as a sacrifice by Tamlin.
See, this is why we need a copy of the treaty.
I know. And you know what was interesting? Because I was just thinking about this as well, though, this part. Why did the Suriel tell Feyre that there was no way to get out of this treaty that said that she
Oh.
had to be there?
Yeah, well,
So,
how did she ask the question, though? Do you know what I
and
mean?
that's what yeah, because that Suriel is a tricky,
Right. If she was like, "Is there no loophole for the treaty?" and just said that, and he's like, "Yeah, there is no
right.
loophole for the treaty. It's the treaty." But
Yeah.
she wasn't
And not
like,
the specific clause of
"Is
me
there a
being
loophole
taken
for
here.
me being released because I am being held prisoner because I killed a fairy?" He'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
Right. And so you're right. I think that
But I can't
that
remember
it
how
was
she
probably
asked.
it was might have been too vague of a question, or or
Mhm.
maybe it was even something like, can I get out of the treaty, or can I get out? I don't know. So anyway, but
Yeah.
I thought I wanted to point that out too. So
Mhm.
um Amarantha assumed it would never happen, that it was all just a cruel joke. She believed it to be impossible that the same girl who would slaughter a faerie in cold blood would come to fall in love with one. Binding the masks to the spring court's faces was all part of the joke. Amarantha thought it would be more difficult for anyone to fall in love without seeing their full face, which I think is dumb. I
Mhm.
think
Yeah,
you can
this
still
whole
get pretty good.
thing is
Yeah.
dumb.
I know.
And it's like the whole premise is stupid too because it's like, "Oh, she had to kill a fairy with hate in her heart," when she didn't even know it was a fairy. It was disguised
Hmm.
as a wolf. She knows
Yeah.
0 fairies. Like, it just seems like such a
Interesting.
flawed
Yeah.
plan,
Yeah.
which,
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, I think it was supposed to be intentionally set up to fail, but I agree, just
yeah.
silly, silly. But Amarantha also bound the whole court to not be able to tell anyone about the curse that she put upon them. The made up story about the blight was as close as Tamlin could get to telling her what was happening. Alice can tell her all of this now because the 7 times 7 years time limit has passed, and Tamlin and the rest of the court have been taken under the mountain. When Tamlin was first cursed, he sent a sentry over the wall every day, disguised as a wolf, feeling that it would be most likely for one of the humans to try to protect themselves from the predator. And that worked somewhat, but every human woman they came across would scream and run in fear. Those that didn't come back, he could tell were killed by hunters because of his bond with them as their lord. So, as their high lord, he does have a sense of his court and
Mhm.
who is in it, and so he could tell that that those sentries that he was sending over were dying, and that probably was really really hard
Mhm.
too. After 2 years, he only had a dozen sentries left, and it was killing him watching his men go over the wall and never come back. So he just stopped trying to break the curse and stayed to defend his borders as best as he could. Other High Lords did try to fight Amarantha as well, but 40 years ago she executed 3 of them and their families for trying to rebel against her. Those who tried to rebel were the Day Court, the Summer Court, and the Winter Court. Amarantha has bound the courts to their own lands so that they couldn't meet to try to create a rebellion, but they ended up using whatever human had crossed the wall. Foolishly, Alice adds, and Feyre is sure that it was the children of the blessed that were
Mhm.
coming over. And the other high fae lords who were bound to their territories were using these humans to send messages across the continent, but Amarantha found them and killed them before they could leave the shores. After she killed the high lords of those courts, those who inherited the title were too afraid to go against her. They are stuck under the mountain with Amarantha to torture as she pleases. She does give some freedoms to those who swear loyalty to her, and those can move freely around the courts, like the Ador. Feyre asks if this is why Alice keeps her nephews in hiding, and Alice confirms that why. Alice is originally from the Summer Court, and her sister and mate were killed in Amarantha's first wave of wrath, so Alice took them and ran. Alice tells Feyre that Tamlin tried to find ways to break the curse without having to send his men over the wall, but couldn't find anything. He was so desperate this past winter, with only a few months left, that he started sending his men again, and lo and behold, Andras ran into Feyre. Alice then gets very angry with Feyre and tells her that if she could have just told Tamlin that she loved him and that she meant it, that the curse would have been broken.
Mhm. Yeah, this is felt really unfair to Feyre, and Alice says, "All you had to do was say
Yeah,
that you loved him. Say that you loved him and mean it with your whole useless human heart, and his power would have been freed. You stupid, stupid girl." It's like, how the fuck was she supposed to know? Alice, shut up. Feyre's never heard
I
the
know,
story of
I
Beauty
know,
and the
like,
Beast. How is she supposed to know that you are cursed and love is going to break the spell? Feyre's whole life is a guilt trip.
I know, I know. And what is so irritating about this too is like, I think that it was probably pretty hurtful too because Feyre already felt bad that she didn't say it back in the
Yeah.
first place. And now
And
she's
being like,
like,
"I need to help. I need to help. I need to come back and help." It's like, you could have just said, "I love you," and everything would have been fine.
I know, and then now you
Ah.
feel really bad. Ooh, yikes.
Also, like, looking back, even as a reader, knowing that's what it is, there are, like, 0 clues. It's not like there's like,
Hmm.
anything that Feyre could have, like, looked back on in hindsight to be like, "Whoops, missed that." oh, it's so obvious when I know. It's like,
Mhm.
hello, yeah, how yeah, Alice being so mean to her, I'm like, how is she supposed to know?
Exactly, yeah, and especially I think this is gonna come up a little bit later too, but it's kinda talked about how Tamlin didn't really try to pursue her. Lucian was, like, the
Yeah.
first one that was trying to kinda push them together and get them to kinda hang out and do things more together, and so how was Feyre supposed to know? Because Tamlin didn't appear to be trying very hard to get
Right.
things to a better place with them or to, like, make them fall in love. He wasn't doing anything that was getting them there. So how is she
Mhm.
like, even now looking back, she's like, "Well, it took us months of me finally being more comfortable around him and him actually wanting to, like, be around me that I even started feeling
Right.
these feelings for him," but he didn't try very hard for the from the get-go anyway. So,
Right, right.
yeah.
Yeah. It's all just dumb.
Yeah, yeah.
Very.
There was only 3 days left of the timing for the curse to be broken when Tamlin had sent Feyre away. If she would have just told him, like we said, if she would have just told him the curse would have been lifted. Feyre now understands why Lucian was so mad the day she left, why he didn't really like her, but he tolerated her presence if it could mean that she broke the curse. Amarantha's cronies showed up the second that the 7 times 7 years requirement had been up and took all of the court under the mountain. Feyre realizes also that if Amarantha is technically ruler of Prythian right now, then she's also the one that's been sending the fairies over the wall to attack human villages and also had to have been responsible for Claire Bedor. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
100% yes.
It's all coming
Feyre is
together.
piecing it it's all coming together. Yep, Feyre is piecing it together. Tamlin's kind of lame attempts at complimenting her and talking to her stopped when she was trying to keep her distance from him, and she didn't want to seem to want to talk to him, but she did slowly warm up to him, and they fell in love with each other. He was so worried Amarantha would still come after her, even if she did break the curse, so he sent her away. Only 3 days before the timeline was up. He did, that's the whole thing. I was like, you didn't want to just give her one more day after you told her you loved her to just try to see if she'd say it back or maybe like
Right. I feel
yeah.
like it would have been
He
pretty
chose
easy to get Feyre to say it.
I do
Like,
too. And now to be fair though, Rhysand did show up right before he sent her home. So I think that
yeah.
he felt like
Right, that was,
I don't
like, pushed him over the
that was
edge.
the trigger. Yeah, yeah. So but Feyre feels like that Tamlin chose her over his court and over all of Prythian. Um and like I do kind of think, kind of in a line with this. I think if Tamlin had his full strength back, like if that really would have truly broken the curse, would have got the masks off, and because Amarantha said, if you can do this, I'll give you your power back. Like if Tamlin would have then got his full strength, I personally
Right.
think that he could have taken on Amarantha then.
Mhm. Yeah.
Also, like it wasn't, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Because I don't remember if they talk about later yet, but, like, the only reason Amarantha was able to get all the High Lords under her power is because she tricked them,
and then
not
stole it.
that
Yeah,
she's more powerful than them. So if Tamlin can have his full power back, she's not more, like, he's more powerful than she is. So,
I know.
but I guess she has an army potentially.
Right, right. Yeah. But now conversely, Alice isn't sure if Tamlin could have defeated Amarantha. So Alice is kind of like,
Oh. Oh,
even
hey,
if that
we were
would have
just
happened.
about to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I was like, but Alice did not think that he could have
Uh,
defeated her. And because Amarantha had used like her brain to defeat them the first time, so she thinks that
mhm.
she would have maybe had more tricks up her sleeve to kind of prevent it from coming to
True.
fruition anyway. Um, Amarantha also keeps a lot of her power very well contained. It's not known how strong she truly is. Feyre asks how to get to the court under the mountain, and Alice refuses and said it's nothing more than a death wish. And the current trajectory is the hand of the cauldron has dealt, and Feyre's like, I don't care. I don't believe in the cauldron. Show me how to get to my man. And so Alice does. She's like, fine, I guess we'll go ahead and do this. So, God.
This evil sorceress tricked all the High Lords, and this 19-year-old girl's gonna stop her. Watch out.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Feyre gathers a bow and quiver of arrows. I just want to pause real quick. That was the word that
Mhm.
I could not come up with in the last episode. Quiver.
Oh,
Quiver of
quiver.
arrows. I think I
Quiver.
said arrow holder, and just because it would not come to
Arrow
my brain,
basket.
but arrow basket. It's a quiver. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets a quiver of arrows from what she can find around the manor to take with her. Even if it's not really going to do anything, she at least wants to feel like she can protect herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Better than nothing.
Yeah.
Even if I end up against fairies who've been born knowing how to kill. Is anything born knowing how to kill? Feyre, you idiot.
Alice leads her through the woods and hills until they reach a cave mouth. All dark and miserable roads lead under the mountain, Alice says under her breath. Feyre is confused. She assumed that it would take weeks to get there. Since it's in the middle of Prythian, she saw the map from in Tamlin's
Yep.
study or the art gallery or whatever. So she kind of knows where
Mm-hmm.
the mountain is in relation to everything else. But they'd only been walking for a few hours. Alice is adamant, though, this is the way. And Alice gives her a last few tips before she enters the cave. 1, don't drink the fairy wine. It's different from what they had on summer solstice. 2, don't make any deals with any fairies unless your life depends on it. And most importantly, trust no one, not even Tamlin.
How's Alice so wise? Those are three
I
very, very specific warnings
hmm
that Feyre remembers, but immediately does all of those things.
I know. Yes. Um, Alice also comments that if Feyre's weapons are not going to do her any good, and Feyre's like, yeah, well, they kind of make me feel better, so I'm going to take them. Alice then says that there's one last part of the curse that she still can't tell her about, but just be super duper careful and listen and be aware at all times.
Thanks. That helps me zero.
That, yeah,
That means nothing to
okay,
me.
like pay attention. Yeah, I hope you're paying attention on this little mission that you've just slapped together, Feyre. So,
Yes, no plan.
as they go to part ways, Feyre gives Alice her family's new home's location and tells her to ask for Nesta, and that Nesta will help Alice and her nephews if needed. Feyre enters the cave. It was completely dark, and she ran into no one until after what felt like an eternity. She sees a small dot of light ahead. The light is coming from a small crack in the wall of the cave. Feyre can just slip through the opening and she comes out into a tunnel where she's like, well, this was stupid. I have no idea where to go. I could run into some other fairy and get killed immediately. And I'm like,
That's the first smart
yeah,
thing you've ever said.
I know, but it's in reflection of your own terrible plan, so not the greatest timing for that. So while she's trying to decide if she should regroup and head back, she's like, nope, this is it. This is my chance. She tries to sneakily go around the corner, and the adder grabs her.
Dun, dun,
The adder
dun.
drags Feyre. I know it's getting intense. The adder drags Feyre to the throne room, and she just keeps reciting in her mind. Tamlin, Alice and her boys, my sister, Lucian, to remind herself to be brave and who she's here for. They go through 2 enormous stone doors into a large pale chamber upheld by countless pillars and a red marble floor. The adder throws Feyre down in front of a dais on which Amarantha sits. Amarantha was not as beautiful as Feyre would have thought. She has red gold hair, snow white skin, ruby red lips, and ebony eyes, but she almost has a permanent sneer on her face, and around her neck is a single bone the size of a finger. Sitting next to her is Tamlin, still with his mask on, but he made no change to his facial features. He appeared almost bored by Feyre's sudden appearance. Amarantha wants to know what's going on, and the adder tells her that he found the human thing wandering around the caves. Amarantha is like, okay, yeah, but like, why do I care what she's doing here? The adder says he found Feyre down in the old tunnels that access the spring court. Tell her majesty why you're here, you human filth, he yells at her. Feyre's like, shit, I really did not plan this enough. What should I do? And she decides to reply with, I came to claim the one I love. And Amarantha is intrigued. Then Feyre says, she's here to claim the High Lord of the Spring Court, Tamlin. Amarantha makes a nasty remark about Tamlin's taste in human beasts, but Tamlin hasn't even moved, let alone say anything. And Then Amarantha figures it out. She's like, "Oh, you let me torture that innocent girl to keep this one safe? You lovely thing. You actually made a human worm love you. Marvelous." Feyre's like, "Let him go." And Amarantha responds with, "Ugh, why?" And Feyre says, "You tricked him. He is bound unfairly." So this is kind of just an important quote for Feyre to make because there are other fairies in this throne room, other high lords or high fae. And to bring in the question of the way Amarantha is running things, if it's fair, like fairies do like have rules about fairness and the words that they use to bind things. So it
Mhm.
it kind of makes everyone go very still. It's very offensive to claim that Amarantha has been a trickster or done something inappropriately in the way that this
Mm.
has been played out. Amarantha looks down at a ring on her finger, and Feyre notices that it looks like a human eye encased in crystal, and it's moving. Amarantha is like, "Ugh, humans are so lame and boring. Would you like to see what should have happened to you?" Behind Feyre is the corpse of a human woman nailed to the wall. She's burned in places. Her fingers were bent at odd angles, and she had deep, red, angry lines crossing her naked body. Amarantha is like, "Maybe I should have listened to her when she insisted that she had never seen Tamlin or killed a fairy or even hunted a day in her life, but I did enjoy listening to her scream. I should thank you for giving Rhysand her name instead of yours." Yep, it's Claire up there, and Feyre feels beyond guilty.
Yeah. Although, phew, really sidestepped that landmine.
No kidding. Whew, it's not me. Thank goodness. Uh, Amarantha tries to turn it on Tamlin, asking Feyre if she'd still want a fae that would allow an innocent human to die. Feyre's like, "Yes, I do. I still want him." Amarantha asks Tamlin what he has to say about all this, and Tamlin's response is that he doesn't know who Feyre is. She must have been glamored, probably by Rhysand as a joke, but he's never seen her before. Amarantha doesn't believe him. She's like, "Aw, how cute that this silly human fell in love with the son of a war general that killed so many humans." She looks down at her ring and is like, "Gee, isn't this ironic, Jurian?" And yeah, it's Jurian's eyeball trapped in the ring. Feyre thinks that Amarantha somehow has his soul trapped in there as well. I don't know why she really thinks this, but the eyeball is moving in there, so it's
Mhm.
alive, or it's sentient at least. It appears. Feyre thinks that Amaranth.
Just just your typical sentient eyeball.
Yep. Yes. Amarantha has a little villain monologue here about how bored she's been since Claire died and how Tamlin isn't reacting to anything.
Yeah. It really can't be overstated how impassive Tamlin is here. Like, nothing.
Mhm.
Feyre thinks he's been enchanted or something because he's
Yeah, she like can't believe
not
how
reacting to
impassive
anything.
he's been. Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Amarantha says, "I'll make you a deal. Complete 3 tasks of my choosing to prove your dedication and prove that your kind can indeed love, and I'll give you your High Lord." Feyre's like, "Okay, but if I do that, you have to break the curse too, and let us leave here and be free forever." She's trying to like be really specific because she remembers how binding the words are with magic, and she doesn't want to miss anything. And she knows that Amarantha in the past has obviously tricked the high lords and wants to make
Mhm.
sure that she's very specific with things. Amarantha is smiling way too big, though. She's like, "All right, we can agree to those terms, and I'll even up the ante. I'll give you a riddle, and if you figure it out at any time during these tasks, I will end the curse immediately and free Tamlin. But if you answer incorrectly, you'll end up like Claire." Feyre's like, "Okay, and if I don't complete a task, what happens?" And Amarantha's like, "Oh, well, you'll be dead and my fun will be over. So don't do that. Let's try to get through these tasks, okay, pumpkin?" Uh, Amarantha refuses to tell Feyre the nature of her task, but says you'll have one task a month on the full moon. Feyre then is like, Okay, but like triple check. If I complete these tasks or solve the riddle, we can go, right?" And Amarantha is getting kind of annoyed with her and is like, "Oh my God, yes, I've said it 5 times already. We've agreed to the terms." Tamlin is finally looking at Feyre and he is begging with his eyes for her to change her mind and not to agree. But Feyre's thinking she's either going to die like Claire or die during these tasks, so she might as well try. Feyre agrees, then
Mhm.
Amarantha tells the adder to give her a proper greeting to her court, and the adder beats the shit out of her, and she goes unconscious.
Sucks.
It does. Feyre wakes up in a cold, moldy cell. Her face seems to have taken the brunt of the damage. She knows her nose is broken and can barely open her swollen eyes. She knows she broke one of Alice's rules almost immediately.
Literally the first thing she did.
Yeah. Mm.
Rule number 2.
Yeah, rule number 2.
Don't make a bargain with anyone.
And she did within 10 minutes of running into other fairies under the mountain. Perfect. But Feyre did feel like she had to do something and felt like she was going to die either way. So this allows, albeit a slim chance of success. She sits up in the cell and tries to think about how soon the next full moon will be. It was half moon when she left her father's, but that was a week ago, maybe. She also doesn't know how long she's been unconscious in the cell. She hears screaming starting somewhere outside of her cell and wonders if Claire screamed that way. She must doze off at some point and is woken by the scrape of her cell door opening. She moves to the corner to try to hide, but it's Lucian. He's like, "Oh my God, what are you doing here? This is so stupid of you." And Feyre tells him that she went to the manor and found Alice and convinced her how to tell Feyre how to get to them. She just had to come to at least tell Tamlin that she loved him, which is kind of ironic that
Yeah,
he
right.
didn't.
It's too
That's
late
why
for
she
that,
said she had.
Feyre.
I know. It doesn't, I mean, it's great, but it kind of doesn't matter now. Things are
Right.
still fucked. So, God. Lucian is like, "Well, at least we don't have to lie to you anymore," and examines her injuries the best he can. He sets her nose and then she passes out. When she comes to, he's like, "I'm sorry, I had to leave some of the bruising in the black eye, or else they would know that you had help." He briefly explains that him and the rest of the High Lords were summoned here and are stuck until after her trials. Amarantha gave Lucian some of his power back to try to persuade Tamlin to be with her, but he's still holding strong on that front. Mm,
Right. And I'm like, I get this is like a power trip for Amarantha, but it's also like, date someone who likes you? I bet the adder
mhm,
is single.
I know. So I don't want to give away too much for going into the end of this book and into the beginning of the next book, but there are some fan theories on this, which I would love
Hmm.
to discuss, but
Oh
at a
my God,
later
I don't know
time.
any of them.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
okay.
know. Okay.
Noted.
Yes. Feyre asks Lucian if it's really Jurian's eye. Lucian confirms and tells her the tale of what happened when Amarantha and Jurian met each other on the battlefield. So remember, Jurian killed her sister Clythia. Uh, each Amarantha and Jurian used their armies as shields to start their battle, but eventually it was mano a mano. And although Jurian had been gifted some protection from her, like maybe he got a spell or he got some high fae that were on the side of the humans helped him a little bit to maybe try to give him some type of, I don't know,
Mhm.
protection against her in the battle. Um, eh, it didn't take long, though, for her to overpower him. She dragged him back to her war camp and took weeks of torturing and killing him, even refusing to come to Hybern's aid when it was requested, which cost Hybern many battles and soldiers. She kept his finger and his eye. Her sister, Clythia, had promised Jurian that he would never die. So when they were together, she told him that if they stayed together and they got out on the other side of the war and they both survived, she would do something. Maybe there's spells that Hybern had to have humans have the same type of lifespan as the
Mhm.
Fae. It's not really said how she told him that, but that's what she told him. And
Mhm.
so Amarantha keeps his eye and his soul preserved with her magic to uphold her sister's promise to him. Ugh. Lucian is glad that she didn't do the same thing when she took his eye. That would be pretty scary to have her
Yeah.
have control of his, soul or however you want to look at it going forward. Lucian hears the changing of the guards and tells Feyre that he has to go, but he's like, try to stay alive. That's his advice for her. Try to stay alive.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thanks. I'll do that.
Feyre is given stale bread and water at regular intervals, so she doesn't know how much time has passed when two red skinned fairies bring Feyre to the throne room. Feyre tries to memorize her path for later in case she needs it, and she does the same to study the throne room to look for potential exits. Amarantha's like, "Ugh, gosh, if we're going to be such good friends, I need to know your name." Feyre refuses to say anything, even after the threat of Claire, who is still hung up and rotting on the wall. Amarantha asks for Rhysand. I wish I could read this whole section. But first, Rhysand kind of mockingly tells Amarantha that she's the most beautiful belle at the ball. Like, Feyre tries to not laugh and smirk at this because he's like, "Oh, yes, you're the most beautiful fae here." And there's some back and forth. And so Amarantha's like, "Is this the girl that you saw at the Springcourt Manor?" And he's just like, "Ugh, I don't know. All humans look the same to me." And Amarantha's like, "Oh my God, what is her name? Tell me." And
Yeah.
Rhysand just goes, "I don't know. She lied to me about her name the first time." And he's like super bored by this. He's like, I don't want to be here, be messing with this. So
Mhm.
since Feyre is also remaining silent, Amarantha signals to the Adder to grab someone out of the crowd, and he grabs Lucian while Amarantha orders Rhysand to hold Lucian's mind. Lucian goes completely still, and from the crowd appear four red-haired, muscly warriors. They must be Lucian's brothers, and they're smiling at the scene in front of them. Rhysand smiles faintly, and Feyre is remembering what it felt like to have him digging around in her own mind. She knows that he could completely wipe Lucian's memory if he wanted. Amarantha asked Tamlin if he's ready to tell her Feyre's name, but he still says nothing, and he's just glaring at Lucian's brothers. Amarantha asks them if they know what her name is, and one pipes up like, "If we knew, we would have been the first to tell you." Fucking kiss asses. I hate his brothers so much. But
Uh,
yeah.
sure, but, we expect that from them. What bothers me more is Tamlin being completely
Yeah,
unreactive to
that's true.
everything. He would have let Lucian's mind get mushed here. I guarantee.
Yeah. I yeah.
He's not gonna do shit.
Ugh. Yeah, I know. Amarantha gives another signal to Rhysand, and Feyre blurts out her name to stop him from hurting Lucian. Feyre wonders if Rhysand has been allowed to keep more of his powers than the others, because this is an incredible amount of power if this is only a small amount that she's allowed him to keep. Amarantha muses that Feyre is a name from the old dialects. Again, super important, but we will come back to this.
Feyre says something about her name earlier in the book too, she was like, something live up to my name." So I looked up
Mhm,
Feyre, and it is an actual name too, and
mhm.
it means
Interesting.
beautiful or something. All names
Yeah.
mean that, but
So Amarantha gives Feyre the riddle. There are those who seek me a lifetime, but never we meet, and those I kiss, but who trample me beneath ungrateful feet. At times I seem to favor the clever and the fair, but I bless all those who are brave enough to dare. By large, my ministrations are soft handed and sweet, but scorned I become a difficult beast to defeat. For though each of my strikes land a powerful blow, when I kill, I do it slow. Amarantha repeats it again for her, but Feyre has no idea what the answer is. It seems like some of the gathered Fae get it right away. And I'm not going to lie, I was not very impressed with myself that I didn't figure this out immediately. But lo and behold, I just wanted to get to the next part because I think that first time reading through this book years ago, I was like, well,
mhm.
what's going to happen? Like, I was like, yeah, this riddle,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna skip
Right,
over
right,
this.
right. You're like, "Whatever,
Yeah.
you're gonna get the answer initially." I'm sure I
Yeah.
didn't get it the first time I read it, but I knew the answer was gonna be annoying and dumb, and I was right. It is
Yeah.
annoying and dumb.
Uh,
I'll talk about it more
uh,
later.
we will, yeah. And Feyre doesn't want to get the answer wrong, though, and get killed even sooner than she has a chance to start going through these trials. So she just wants to take a step back and think about it.
Yeah, and oh my god, when she's, brainstorming answers and she thinks all these real things. She's like, "Could it be a disease? My mom died of typhus." I was like, "Feyre, fuck you, that's not how riddles work." Like, they're
It's
not
like an
real answers,
abstract
they're like
concept,
puns.
or it's like,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
God,
It's not
whatever.
a physical thing. Uh, Gosh, she need to read Lord of the Rings before this.
Right,
Or
right.
well,
The
she couldn't
Hobbit.
have. I'm sorry. Feyre,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
keep making so many
Learn how
comments
to
about you
read, you
not being able
dumb
to read. I'm so
bitch.
sorry.
Yeah.
uh, and Feyre does call herself a common idiot human here. So, hmm, yeah, but she's like really defeated and has no confidence that she's going to succeed in any way. And she gets taken back to her cell. It's been what she thinks is about 2 days later and is wondering about the phrasing of immediately being free after the riddle. And she never specified how long they'd be free if she completes the trials. And so she's really spiraling about this. She's like, fuck, I messed up. I forgot to be specific with being free if I complete these trials. Um, no one
Mhm.
comes to visit her in this time, and she has dreams about being trapped in the crystal ring. She's terrified of what's to come, and then the cell door opens and the red skin fairies come to take her. It must be the full moon. And I'm just gonna say this right now. Amarantha is the biggest bitch to ever bitch. Oh, I hate her so much.
Yeah, and she just gets worse, if that's
Mhm.
possible. All right.
Yes.
So those
Yeah.
fairies, they lead Feyre to an arena. There's an enormous crowd of high fae and fairies excited for the show. Amarantha and Tamlin are on a raised platform, and around the platform are the rest of the High Lords. In front of the platform, there's a deep pit of trenches, creating a labyrinth. It seems to be dug from mud. Feyre's unceremoniously deposited into the pit. It's all muddy and slippery, and the mud smells really bad.
Ugh. Let me just say, I'm a texture person and I'm claustrophobic. So this would literally be my nightmare. Like I have
Yeah.
chills just thinking about this. Ugh, so gross. Okay, sorry.
Yep. Rhysand told Amarantha that Feyre was a huntress. So Amarantha's like, here, Feyre, hunt this. And it turns out it's a giant Middengard worm. We get no lore about the worm, but that's what it's called. The worm is giving the sandworms from Dune, but it's more like a huge earthworm with a giant round mouth full of teeth. Feyre is being chased by the worm through the smelly, muddy labyrinth, but when she squeezes through a crevice and the worm shoots right past her, she realizes the worm is blind. So then Feyre ends up falling into a pit. Inside of the pit, there's a tunnel with a bunch of bones, and she realizes this is the worm's den. The walls are really high, so to get out, she builds a ladder by sticking bones into the walls of the pit and also makes a giant trap of broken bones that she sticks into the ground. So they're pointy like spikes. Then she goes, find the worm. She covers herself in mud, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger does in Predator, to mask her scent and make her invisible to the worm since it sees by smelling. It does seem like a
Ugh.
pretty big handicap for the worm to be blind. It's like, why wouldn't you make Feyre hunt something that has all of its senses? But whatever, I'm not an evil
Right.
villain.
Also, Feyre figures out here that all of this mud in the labyrinth is like the worm's poop. And it's the
Oh,
fairies
yeah.
it's digested. That's why it's so stinky.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
very
god.
gross.
Yeah. Ew. Ew, ew, ew.
So yeah, so she is covered in that. Fun. Of course, all the fairies are hanging over the sides of the pit, like taunting Feyre, placing bets, etc. And Rhys is the only one who realizes what she's doing, which is building a trap and making herself invisible. Feyre sneaks up on the worm and cuts her hand so it'll smell her blood.
Infection. Infection.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah, 100%. I know. I was thinking the same thing. She loses track of the worm for a second, and Lucian yells, to your left. So he helps her, and she narrowly avoids getting caught thanks to Lucian's tip. Feyre leads the worm back to her trap, and it works. The worm falls into the pit, impales itself on the bones, and dies. Feyre does get hurt in this process, though, because she jumps into the pit to get the worm to follow her, and when she rolls away, she got impaled by a bone or something. And
Mhm.
Amarantha's like, wow, this is really harshing my buzz. Feyre, meanwhile, is riding the high of winning. She's like, yes, I prove my love. Still unsure how fighting a worm proves you love somebody, but whatever.
It's like, just because you're supposed to like battle to the death for someone you love. I mean, I
Right.
personally just think Amarantha wanted to watch Feyre get eaten in this. That's why
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
set it up this way. It was not a test to
Right.
like
Right.
prove anything about a human's love. It's just she wanted to watch it get
Yeah.
eaten.
What are you
Yeah.
willing to do? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Want to roll around in muddy poop and kill this massive Gross swarm.
Yeah.
Prove your love.
Uh,
Do it.
yep. But when Feyre sees Amarantha's hand on Tamlin's knee, she is pissed. And so she throws a bone at Amarantha like a javelin, and it lands in the mud at her feet. And I was like, yes, queen, we live for defiance.
I was like, I hope some of that worm poop got splattered in your eye, Amarantha, from that javelin bone. Gross.
Yeah, it does like get on her dress, God forbid. Tamlin still has no
Mhm.
reaction, but Feyre, quote, could have sworn there was a ghost of triumph on his face. End quote. Amarantha tells Feyre that the whole court bet that she would die, except for one person who bet on her winning. Amarantha dismisses Feyre and calls Rhysand to the dais. Feyre's led away and realizes how bad her arm injury actually is, and the pain's so bad she can barely walk back to her cell. Feyre's left alone for days. No one heals her arm. She's in a lot of pain and starting to panic because the wound hasn't stopped bleeding. She's worried about infection, which same, so are we. Immediately we're worried about that. When you cut your hand to lure the worm, you're covered in worm, gross,
Ugh.
mud, excrement, blah, blah, blah.
Ugh. Yeah.
I always worry about infection in historical dramas and fantasies. I'm like, no, what do you think about infection? Nobody has antibiotics. But at least here we have magic. Okay.
Yeah. But Feyre doesn't have any magic. What's she gonna do?
Right. She's just a stupid, idiot, weak
Mhm.
human. Feyre's now
Mhm.
burning up, and she's kind of just getting worse and worse, and she's trying to tell herself it's not a fever, because as we all know, if you tell yourself hard enough, fevers go away.
Yep.
Mind over matter.
That's how you cure 'em. That's how you cure 'em.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally. Suddenly, the darkness around the door ripples, and Rhysand shows up. He's kind of messing with her. He's like, "Wow, you look like shit." She's like, "Thanks, I'm dying." Rhys is also taunting her about Tamlin. Like, what would he say if he knew you were rotting away down here, burning up with fever? Not that he can come here, not with every move watched. Which I'm like, how hard is Tamlin really trying? But
Yeah.
Feyre's trying to
Well,
hide her wound from Rhys, but he says he's come to offer her help. He tells Feyre that she made him a lot of money and he will repay the favor. So he's the one that bet that she would beat the worm. Rhys looks at her wound, and Feyre is just thinking, I can't let anyone know how bad it is because then they'll use it against me, which fair, but I also think the time for that has passed. Um,
mhm.
you're fucked.
You've got a fever. Yeah, you need to
Right.
survive. Yeah.
Rhys asks if she wants him to heal her arm, but Feyre knows that won't come without a cost. But Rhysand says he'll make a trade. He'll heal Feyre's arm in exchange for her. For 2 weeks every month, she'll live with him at the night court, starting after the trials. Feyre flat out refuses at first, but he's like, none of your friends are coming. I mean, you could try to wait, but I don't think you're going to last much longer.
And I think I just want to add in here, like Feyre does think about in the cell at this point that Lucian is probably her only ally. He has come by once, to kind of check on her. But she also doesn't really think that Lucian understands how human health works. And he's unaware of how injured she is or that she could have been after. I mean, she tried to like hide the fact that her arm had the puncture in it anyway, so that they wouldn't like
Yeah.
try to use it against her. But I think that she still is like, we are much more fragile than Lucian thinks. I mean, he sent her off to the cereal with like little to no help. And, he
Yeah.
just she's kind of like, yeah, we do have some weaknesses compared to you when it comes to some things. And she's like, I don't think he
Right.
fully grasps the gravity of the situation that I'm in right now. So,
Yes. Yeah. Rhysand is playing on her insecurities about Lucian.
mhm,
Um,
yeah.
Rhys Rhysand's like, you don't want to place your life or Tamlin's life in the hands of chance. You take my offer now. Maybe Feyre's holding out for Lucian, but he was punished because of warning Feyre during the trial. And Rhysand also tells her that Tamlin even broke his delightful brooding to beg for Lucian to be spared. I was like, oh, so Tamlin talked for Lucian, but not for Feyre. That's cool.
Right.
Tamlin had to
Right.
bestow Lucian's punishment of 20 lashes. Feyre just feels so sad for Tamlin having to do that. Okay. So Rhys like, listen,
Bummer, you're
whatever you
about
want to
ready to
do.
die.
Yeah, right. um Rhys like, listen, whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter to me, but you are dying. And Feyre's pissed, super annoyed. She's like, oh, I hate you so much. You've caused all of this. You told Amaranth about Claire, and you made Tamlin beg in the dining room back at the spring court. But I was like, actually, none of this is Rhys's fault. Like, yeah, it's shitty that he did those things, but he didn't cause this situation right now that she's, like, blaming
Mhm,
him for.
exactly. Like, she's mad at him for where she's at specifically at this moment, and, like you said, he's done some not so great things up until this point, but he also was, like, ordered to do those things, like, you can tell, like, he's being made to do a lot of these things, so,
Right.
you're shooting the messenger in this situation,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
though he's not yeah, yeah.
Right,
He could
right.
be handling it a little differently. He's showing off his snarky, rude side right now
Yeah.
too, though, so, yeah.
Yes, yes. So then Reese hurts Feyre. He twists the bone that's impaling her arm. It is owie. He's like, "This is the last time I'm gonna offer my help. Take it or leave it." And Feyre is still holding out, but as he's about to ripple away and leave, Feyre comes to her senses. She's like, "I really have no other choice." So she does make a deal with him. She bargains though, and they agree eventually on 1 week a month instead of 2 weeks a month, which, yeah, I'm like, half your time at the night court? That's pretty intense. Um, but yeah, so the
Yes,
bond is
yeah.
made and Feyre passes out from the pain. When she comes to, all the mud is gone, the fever is gone, etc., and she's cured. But then when she looks at her left
Yay!
arm, she has, yeah, a swirly tattoo all up her left forearm and hand. Plus, in the center of her palm, there's a large feline looking eye, which honestly, sick. That's a sick tattoo.
Okay, again, the distinctness of this tattoo is very important to Rhysand lore in history. It's very important, okay? There's a lot of theories around this and why this specific design came out, okay? But we'll wrap it all up. We might have to do an entire episode of questions and this kind of stuff that we got to talk about with these books. So, proceed. I'm sorry. Sorry, proceed. Yes.
Proceed, yeah. Feyre is, of course, annoyed. She's like, "Ah, you did not tell me there'd be a tattoo involved." Reese is all, "You didn't ask, so how am I to blame? Are you just worried about what Tamlin's gonna think when he sees it?" And she's like, "Oh my fucking god, I didn't even think about that."
She's not even concerned that it's like for her first thought, like, oh my God, I have a tattoo. And then she's like, oh, wait, everyone's going to know what kind of tattoo this is. Like, it just made me laugh so hard that her first instinct was just like, ah, now I have a tattoo. And then not the what the tattoo means at all, just that she has one. She was just mad about that.
Yeah.
Made me laugh. So, yeah.
So now Feyre has made a bargain with 2 fairies. Way to go. Alice would be
Hmm.
super happy. And Feyre's like, "Great. He didn't do any of this for me or to save me. He just wanted to hurt Tamlin one more time, and I fell into his trap like the stupid, dumb, idiot, pathetic human I am." You sure about that?
Are you sure about that, Feyre? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? I'm not sure about that.
No.
We'll see though, I suppose, right?
I
Mm.
know. All right. We cut to Feyre scrubbing the floors in a hallway. She has dirty water she's trying to clean the floors with. The guards who put her here said if the whole hall is not washed and shiny by supper, she's going to get turned over the spit. Talk about motivation. So she's freaking out because obviously this is an impossible task. The hall's just getting dirtier and dirtier as she's trying to clean it. She's also trying not to look at her left arm because she does not want to see that tattoo. She's still really struggling with the fact that she made a deal with Rhysand, but also, you would 100% be dead, okay? Let's just thank our lucky stars.
You can be upset that you're in this bargain again, but let's be real. Would you rather be dead or in the bargain? You'd rather be in the bargain. You would have rather done that. So
Mhm.
don't get so like it's
Right.
happened, it's done. We got to move on from that and just get over it. You're at least still alive. That it could have been
Yeah.
worse. So, yeah.
Could have been so much worse. Yeah, plus, she feels like the eye on her palm is watching her. She doesn't like her tattoo. Then the door at the end of the hall opens, and Lucian's mom is here to help since Feyre gave her name to Amarantha to spare Lucian when she first showed up under the mountain. Lucian's mom turns the water clean, and now her debt to Feyre is paid. Phew! Okay, Feyre's able to clean the hall. Without the help of others, she would truly be screwed, but I guess that is the way of all heroes. They never do anything all by themselves.
Yep. Never.
Um, The guards come back and they're annoyed. She succeeded, so they assign her another task. They take her to a room and say she needs to clean all of the lentils out of the ash in the fireplace. And to do this before the room's owner comes back, or else he'll kill her. Blah, blah, blah. Stakes are high. We get it. So she starts to try to do that. Again, another impossible task. Also, I don't know why she's being assigned Cinderella chores right now. Like, these are literally the chores Cinderella had to do in the original stories.
I know. It's interesting that that type of lore is brought up because it's a different, like, retelling that's kinda going on a little bit. I think she's just pulling from some other stuff. But, in the next book, it's gonna get brought up about these punishments, and the way that this court is run is based off of Amarantha and the way that how she saw another court in Prythian was run and how they
Oh,
dole
right.
out punishments and all these kind of little silly shenanigans of things. There's a reason that she's kind of doing it this way. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say about
Interesting.
that.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, so Fair is like, okay, it's fine. I can do this. But no, she can't. 2 hours later, she's freaking out. And then the lock clicks and Resand enters. He's confused and doesn't know why she's in there. No one knows about their little bargain yet. And Fair is like, maybe this is actually a test for you because you lied to Amaranth about Claire, etc. So, Fair kind of confronts him about the fact that she knows he recognized her and lied. And Reese says, Amarantha plays games, and so does he. It's kind of boring down here. Feyre reminds him Amarantha let him out on Fire Night, and he somehow got out to deliver the head. And Reese says he had his reasons for being out on Fire Night, but it cost him. Feyre asks about his powers. Reese still seems really powerful, even though he confirms Amarantha did take the majority of his powers. So what he's working with is just a small remnant. Woo! All the other High Lords can shape shift, but Reese can't fully shift right now. All that he can do is turn his hands and feet into talons and let his awesome wings out. What's the wingspan?
I need exact measurements, please.
So yeah,
If you
his
know, you
wings
know.
come out. Yeah. They're like classic, like devil wings almost with the claw at the apex of each that peek out over his shoulders. They're described as bat wings too. Bat boys. The part of Feyre that likes to paint beautiful things is stirred by his wings. And Feyre's like, whoa, I am screwed. Should not have offered my life to him. Reese and Feyre banter slash spar with words a lot, which again is just showing how far Feyre has come since when she first showed up in Prythian. Like,
Mhm.
someone who can squish your mind is not to be trifled with. And yet, she was like so scared of Tamlin. He never did anything
Right.
scary.
Yeah. And, like, in the only times that she saw him do scary things was with the Naga when he was defending her or trying to help her.
Mm
And, like, yeah, him busting down her door and taking her back to Prythian originally probably was scary for him to show up that way. But
hmm. Mm hmm.
Reese is very definitely on the morally gray scale, whereas, like, Tamlin's motivations seem to be a little bit better or more aligned with goodness than Rhysand's do right now.
Yeah, totes. Feyre then asks Reese if he knows the answer to the riddle. He tells her that Amarantha prohibited everyone from helping Feyre, so even if he felt like giving her the answer, he couldn't. But for being brave enough to even ask Rhysand for the answer like that, he vanishes all the ashes and separates out the lentils. And then the guards come back, and Reese tells them no more household chores and to stay out of her cell and not to touch her. You're welcome, Feyre.
And I just, we know what comes, obviously, but I can't imagine what her life would have been like if that little interaction would not have occurred. Because even though
Yeah.
I think that Amarantha maybe had given the all clear for them to kind of mess with her a little bit, I think that Feyre is pretty insignificant to Amarantha still. And so she's not like telling them to do these things to her necessarily, but she's given them free reign. And then Rhysand telling them to like not mess with her. He is essentially the second scariest Fae under the mountain. And so if he
Yeah.
tells them to leave Feyre alone, they're going to listen to him. So you're right.
Mhm.
You're welcome, Feyre.
Yeah,
He just saved you again, really, in all honesty. So
totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from that point on, each morning and evening, a fresh hot meal appears in Feyre's cell. Thank you, Resand, except Feyre's annoyed about it. Um, she's like, "Get
Of course.
motherfucker." Um, Feyre keeps pondering the riddle to no success. Days pass, and no one comes to her cell. Feyre's unsure if the eye on her palm is watching her. One night she swears it blinked. And then one day, two high fae females come to her cell. They appear from the darkness, just like Rhysand does, but these two remain mostly shadow like. They seem to never fully solidify, even though they feel solid when they touch Feyre. They kind of turn Feyre into a shadow too and lead her glamored from the cell. They paint Feyre's entire body with the same pattern that's on her arm and dress her in this super revealing gauzy gown. So from the neck up, Feyre is like a regal queen, and from the neck down, it's party time. um,
Oh, yeah.
Feyre describes herself as a heathen god's plaything. And of course, this is all Rhysand's doing, and he appears telling her he needs an escort for the midsummer party. Feyre has been painted a Noxuna Moon style, so Rhys will know if anyone touches her. Uh, they arrive at the
Wonderful
party.
phrasing.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Yes. Mhm.
Um, they arrive at the party, and Feyre is a spectacle. Amaranth is like, what is this? And Tamlin, of course, has zero reaction. Rhys tells them he and Feyre made a bargain and explains the terms. Rhys gives Feyre wine. Oh, Alice's first rule. And Feyre drinks it and then wakes in her cell later with only hazy memories. She's hungover as fuck, throws up all day, and Lucian finally comes to her cell. So many people are able to interact with her in there. Like, how so many people could come to her cell and take her out and shit.
I know. The only thing I could think of is that these guards, A, might really suck, or B, they're too busy torturing the other fairies that Feyre always hears screaming. And in actuality, like, how far could she really get? Like, I think it's probably pretty
Right.
lenient with, the monitoring. But you would think that they would be trying to make sure that no one was trying to help her still, too.
Yeah.
So you'd think that she would have a little bit higher, I
Right.
don't know.
And you would think that Tamlin would be able to make his way to the cell since everybody and their mom is able to
Right.
come see Feyre. Or
Yeah, no
like,
kidding.
I don't know, get somebody to get her out or something. All right,
Mhm.
I digress. Feyre has marks on her waist from where Rhys touched her last night. And Lucian says Rhys was just doing it to get a rise out of Tamlin and it didn't work. Womp womp. Feyre was dancing all up on Rhys. And when Feyre asks exactly what kind of dancing, Lucian says, not the kind you were doing with Tamlin at Solstice, which really made me laugh because I was just imagining Feyre and Tamlin dancing at Solstice as such like a pure thing. Like they're brightly lit and spinning in slow motion. It's like blurry kind of. They're holding hands, they're ecstatically happy. Maybe Feyre throws her head back in joy, juxtaposed by her covered in paint in the bowels of hell, giving Rhys a lap dance.
It's so true. It's like that exact imagery. Like you're getting this like literal princess fairy tale moment with Tamlin. Like that's
Yeah.
how you're imagining them dancing. And then you're getting like, I don't know, 2007 in the club. Thank God we don't
Yeah.
have cell phones that can record video any yet,
Yeah.
right? Like
She's
that's
like
how it feels. Yeah.
she's like dancing to Toxic down in under the mountain.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, good stuff. Then Lucian starts berating Feyre for making a bargain with Rhys, basically implying he would have come to heal her, but then almost immediately he says he just now is able to move again after recovering from the 20 lashes because like Amaranth's magic was keeping him from healing. It's like, so Feyre
Mhm.
would 100% be dead by now. It's been like days since she was healed.
Exactly. And I think that I just want to go back to my point that she was thinking about after her initial injury that she's glad like Lucian, she's so happy that he was concerned and she understands now why that he couldn't come, but she still is like, you are not grasping how close to death I actually was. Like, you can be mad about this bargain, but I would have died
Mhm.
if Resand would not have come and done this. So, yeah, yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, not to mention Lucian physically couldn't come earlier, so that's also it's just like, what else was she supposed to do? Why are you giving her shit for this. So they get into a little fight about trust, just like you're talking about. Feyre is valid in this.
Mhm.
Plus, yeah, again, she would have died. Said it enough. But Reese is basically pure evil, so Lucian is concerned. Before he leaves, Feyre asks about Tamlin. She assumes he's under some kind of spell, like kind of mentioned earlier, since he's been so unresponsive, but no, he's just doing this to protect Feyre. Hard side eye on that one. Like, yeah,
So she's come
make
and
it make
she's declared
sense.
her love for him. So now he's just gonna pretend like she doesn't exist? Like, it
Right. I
doesn't
mean,
make any sense. I don't
right.
understand
Lucian
his.
does say, like, if he reacts, Amarantha will know what way to hurt you that hurts him the most or whatever. But I'm like, the jig is up. Like, what are we
Yeah.
like playing? Like, she knows that Feyre loves you and that she's here for you and like whatever. It just gets worse. Don't worry.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
next night, Feyre is painted again and brought out for Reese's entertainment. This continues every night. But luckily, the fairy wine makes her unaware of what's happening. Rhysand only ever touches her on her waist, though, so small mercies. Um, Finally, as she's being prepared one night, Rhys comes to see her beforehand and reminds her that her second trial is the next day. He asks, "Aren't you going to beg me for a night with your beloved?" And Farrah's like, all the nights with him soon." Feyre mentions how Tamlin never made her feel like a slave. And Rhys is like, ugh, whatever. Maybe if Tamlin wasn't so damn noble and learned about cruelty and what it means to be a true High Lord, he'd have kept the Spring Court from falling. Feyre's like, ugh, the Night Court fell too. Sadness flashes in Rhysand's eyes, and Feyre also feels a tug of sadness inside and is like, okay, what is actually up with this tattoo?
Yes, it's the tattoo, for sure.
Yeah,
It's
they're
the tattoo.
well, they're connected. Oh, right,
Yes,
the
they
tattoo.
are.
Okay, okay, I get it. Okay. Feyre tries Feyre tries to probe more about the Night Court, but Rhys tells her to mind her business. He says, "What I do or have done for my court is none of your concern."
Oh gosh, I'm gonna cry probably later. Anyway, go ahead.
He also won't tell Feyre what he actually wants with her or why he's doing all of this. Feyre and Rhys enter the throne room and walk up to the dais where a brown-skinned high fae male is sobbing on the ground. Tamlin is impassive as ever, and Rhys is like, "Feyre, stay quiet, be cool, stand over there." Amarantha says the summer lordling tried to escape, and she wants to know why. The High Lord of the Summer Court is watching on the sidelines. Rhysand reads the captive's mind, which is painful, and the High Lord of Summer looks nervous. Feyre remembers the Summer Court was one of the ones that rebelled, and Rhys tells Amarantha that the Lordling wanted to escape Prythian and flee to the human lands. He acted alone and was just a coward. Feyre notices the High Lord of Summer sag a little bit, like he's relieved. It makes Feyre wonder what choice Rhys just made. Amarantha gives Rhys leave to shatter the Lordling. So Rhysand just squishes his mind completely, and Amarantha's like, "Ugh, I meant his mind, not his brain." Rhys is like, "Whoopsie, sorry." Strolls out with Feyre to taunt and stuff. People like, "Amarantha's whore."
Mhm. Yeah.
Feyre follows and wonders if anyone else realized that was a mercy killing. And she's like, there had to be others involved, maybe even the Summer High Lord himself, or the High Lord of Summer himself, I guess. But it's crazy that
Mhm.
Amarantha just believed Rhysand with no questions and didn't notice any of that interaction at all.
Right, like, that Feyre clocked that, but I do think that Amarantha, one, believes that Rhysand is so under her thumb that he would never lie to her about any of that, and I also think that, like, Rhysand has the reputation of being this really cruel fae anyway, that
Yeah.
I think that 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 everyone's view of him on that just makes them they couldn't even think that there would be another side to him that would be doing things differently than the way they appear to be being done. But
Yeah.
Feyre,
Yeah.
she's seen him. I mean, he did save her from some rapey fairies at Calamai. I mean, so she does
Hmm.
know that there's, even if there was other motivations for that, maybe she does know that he does have a different side that not very many
Hmm.
people seem to have seen. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it seems like she has a much different relationship with him than
Hmm.
most other beings do.
Yes.
So the second task arrives. The next day, Feyre is standing in front of Amarantha. She's like, oh my God, I should have just let that worm eat me. This sucks. I'm definitely not going to survive this. She also still hasn't solved the riddle. So Feyre looks at Tamlin and desperately wants to touch him and hold him. They have a moment where their eyes are locked, which stretches to the point Amarantha's like, hello, I'm trying to be menacing here. Can you please be scared? Then suddenly the floor shudders and Feyre is lowered into another pit arena type deal. Down the middle, there's an iron grate splitting this space in two. And on the other side, all chained up is Lucian. Poor fucking Lucian. He's always like dragged into these trials.
God.
Poor buddy.
I know.
I guess it's just the extra hurt tambourine.
I know.
Tam-lam.
At what point after you lost your eye and everything else that's happened to you would you be like, I don't know if this friendship is worth it anymore. I could
Right.
keep getting pulled into so much shit because of you, dude.
Yeah.
Which is not all his fault either, but like, oh my God.
Yeah, totally. Well, yeah. I guess that does come into play later. For this task, all Feyre has to do is answer the question written on the wall and pick the right lever. And the ceiling, which has started to descend, will not squish them.
It's giving the trash compactor in Star Wars moment.
Yeah,
They need to figure out how to stop
and
it.
it's like there's like a chandelier or something that's making it like super hot. It's
Hot.
Like it's not on fire, but it's like metal and it's very hot.
Yes.
But yeah, oh dear God, not reading, please. Anything but reading. But seriously, Feyre can't read, so there's literally nothing for it. She is screwed. Like also it's kind of a dumb task. Like if she could read, would it be easy? I'm assuming it's some kind of like another riddle-y thing, but it doesn't seem like Amarantha knows Feyre can't read, or else I'm assuming all of her tasks would rely very heavily on reading comprehension.
And because it's actually never said what it says on the wall or what she's supposed to be trying to read.
Right.
And I think that because I think the whole thing was just Amarantha knows that Feyre has not figured out the first riddle yet. So she's giving her another one, thinking that it will make her fail this second task. And I think it also maybe has something to do with like how much smarter and superior fairies are, something like kind of along those lines, that thought process, like we can figure this out immediately, or, I'm sure that everyone around there could figure it out and they're like, oh, watch this poor human, like try to figure this out. But also that type of stress would probably make even the smartest fail.
I mean,
so
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Again,
I mean, that is scary. So Feyre's trying to sound out words. I think she says like grasshopper or something.
Yeah.
Some like riddle. But the ceiling is so close by this point, and Feyre's just like freaking out. Lucian finally yells, just pick one. It's like, yeah, just give it your best shot. Feyre does some serious mental gymnastics, just making shit up about the levers, and decides she's going to choose the middle lever, which is labeled with the Roman numeral 2. Her logic, immaculate. And I'm just going to read the full quote because there's no other way to do this. Oh my God, if I can even get through it. Okay. This is how she picks the lever. 2. 2 was a lucky number because it was like Tamlin and me, just 2 people. 1 had to be bad because 1 was like Amarantha or the Adder, solitary beings. 1 was a nasty number and 3 was too much. It was 3 sisters crammed into a tiny cottage, hating each other until they choked on it, until it poisoned them. 2. It was 2. I could gladly, willingly, fanatically believe in a cauldron and fate if they would take care of me. I believed in 2. 2. She actually deserves to die. That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. What the actual fuck are you talking about? Also, Sarah J. Maas should be like embarrassed that she wrote this. This is horrible.
It is so unbelievably dumb. It would have been better if she would have just panic picked instead of this reasoning.
Right.
Like just
what?
Because the sequence of events that happen after could have happened exactly the same way.
Yes.
But the panic picking would have made so much more sense than this lot. I mean, just reading that, you're kind of like,
like, that sound about, it's like where people are reading the lyrics of that Taylor Swift song. It's like the daughter, and then they're just like, that is bad writing. It's like, that's somebody needs to make that.
Yeah.
sounds.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. So Feyre reaches for the second lever because clearly it's the right choice. But she feels a blinding pain in her hand. She looks at the eye on her palm and it's narrowed at her. So she tries again, same thing. She tries lever 1, pain. She tries lever 3, no pain. She tries lever 1 again, pain. God damn it, Feyre!
Okay, also, does no one else realize that she's going to pull the lever and she stops halfway to look at her hand? Like, what? Like, it's so obvious to me.
Maybe by this point, the ceiling is so low that no one can see.
Maybe, but but then how
Yeah.
is Rhysand letting her know that to not pick that one? Like, he has to be able to see.
Yeah.
I'm just,
He can.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
no,
she
I
went like
know.
this, then she's like,
Yeah.
like, what? What are you
And then
doing?
she's just like, reaching for each one. Oh my
Yeah,
God. So yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so Rhysand has also been staring at her the whole time. Clearly he's helping her cheat, as we have said. Feyre's still taking her dear sweet time, but she finally pulls the third fucking lever and the ceiling starts to go back up. Momentary elation quickly replaced by extreme self-loathing about being illiterate and how it had almost killed her and how she only won by cheating. She'll never beat the third tasker free Tamlin in his court. And I mean, you've gotten pretty lucky so far, so maybe that
Mhm.
continues.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
She's about to just break down completely, but then she hears Rhysand's voice in her head telling her to keep it together and to not give Amarantha the satisfaction of seeing her break. He does praise her 3 times for doing what he says.
Yeah. Yeah. That's nice of him.
That's just a fun fact. Okay.
Keep it together, woman. God,
Yeah. All right. Amarantha is obviously livid that she has been foiled again. Even as Feyre is being taken back to her cell, Rhysand's voice is still in her mind, keeping her together. Once she's alone, though, she completely breaks down. Feyre's going through it now. She's like, Amarantha's won. She doesn't even know it. I'm never going to free Tamlin. Feyre needs someone to slap her and tell her to snap out of it.
I needed Cher to enter right now. Snap out of it. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's like is it Moonlight? Moon Dance? I think it's Moon
Yes,
Moon
I
Dance.
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
She
100%. Where is
yeah.
Cher when we need her?
Need
God.
her, I know.
So Feyre is back to calling herself an ignorant human fool and thinks how her shortcomings, that fucking word, are catching up with her. She's having a full-on panic attack, and then Rhys shows up. She doesn't even bother hoping it would be Tamlin. Of course not. Why the fuck would Tamlin do anything? Rhys doesn't slap her, but he's like, okay, stop crying. You beat the second task. Everything's cool. And Feyre just doubles down on the crying and panic attacking, and so he pries her hands away from her face and makes her look at him. And we're just going to have a quick pause because Feyre loves talking about color and light. Light and color. She does this the whole fucking book. And while she was wallowing just now, she was thinking about how there's a part of her that's full of color and light that is now dead. It's been broken. You know, maybe she's never going to paint again, blah, blah, blah. Her cell is devoid of color and light. But when she looks into Rhysand's eyes, they are full of color and light. So do with that what you will.
Perfect.
Symbolism.
Mhm.
Okay. And then Rhysand licks all the tears off of her face.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Feyre is feeling conflicting feelings about this, but she jerks away eventually, and he's like, hey, that worked. And she's like, you're disgusting. Feyre, don't forget, he can feel your emotions through the tattoo eyeball. There's a lot of eyeball things going on in this book.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like
It's
a
a
lot.
theme. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucian's eye, the eye on her hand, Jurian's eye, lots of eyeballs.
Exactly. I
Lots
know.
of eyeballs. Yeah.
Lots of eyeballs. Reese is like, so anyway, it's pretty crazy you can't read, huh? Don't worry, won't tell anyone. I'll just save that information until it's beneficial for me. Maybe I'll make you learn how to read as part of your torture when you visit me.
Foreshadowing. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Gosh, something stuck in there.
It's like, yeah, let me torture you by teaching you this skill you definitely need. But anyway, bye. Feyre's fuming, but then sometime later she realizes that Rhysand, whether he knew it or not, had kept her from shattering completely. He knew.
Yeah, he knew. Yeah, yeah. I highlighted that as well. He knew. Oh God, yeah.
Anyway. So Feyre is depressed, and she stopped even thinking about the riddle because it's impossible, and she's just an illiterate, ignorant human. Oh my god, no, please. Self-deprecating Feyre is officially back. Thinking of Tamlin just makes everything worse, and she knows the third task is going to kill her. Amarantha was never going to let her leave alive, and Feyre also thinks she can't entirely blame Amarantha for her revenge campaign against all humans. Feyre doesn't think she would ever be able to forget or forgive if someone had done what Jurian did to Nesta or Elaine. And I'm like, sure, hold a grudge, but don't hold an entire land hostage because of it. Seek revenge from the person responsible. Amarantha got her revenge.
I know, she already did. She already got her revenge against Jurian,
Yeah.
who is the one who did that to her sister. So I'm like, does being immortal just make your grudges extra long and non-budgeable? You would almost think that
Right.
you're like, this hatred that I feel, I don't need to feel this way for the next hundreds of years of my life. I need to just let it go. And she already got
Right.
her revenge, but I
Right.
digress.
Or if anything, hold a grudge against human men. Don't take it out on this 19-year-old girl.
Yeah.
I could be on board. I could get on board with human man grudge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. Well, I think that
Um,
she's not happy, but she loves Tamlin and that Tamlin does love her
right.
back. Again, I've got some
Yeah.
theories on this. Oh, I've got so many theories. Okay, sorry.
Okay. All right. So Feyre is also realizing the future she dreamed of with Tamlin was just that, a dream. Even if she does succeed and she's able to leave with Tamlin, all they'll end up getting together are decades at the most, which is just a flash of time in Tamlin's immortal existence. Think Edward and Bella.
I know that's what I Yep, yep.
So Feyre has just stopped caring about everything, and she drinks the fairy wine and welcomes its oblivion. One night, when she's walking to the dressing chamber, though, with Rhysand's shadow servants, they hear a noise, and so they hide in an alcove, all glamored. The Adder and an unknown companion are walking down the hall, so the girls are able to overhear what they're saying. Basically, forces are marshaling, and the King of Hybern is getting closer to launching his attack and wants to make sure the High Lords will cooperate. He's not super happy with Amarantha right now, and whatever game she's playing with Feyre is wasting time. Amarantha's obsession with hating humans lost the war last time, and it better not happen again.
Yeah, and the other fairy also brings up that Amarantha stole Hybern's spells. I'm assuming it's the one that she used to steal the High Lord's powers. This
Oh,
is
interesting.
important as well. Yes. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Anyway, whew, close one. The two scary creatures leave. So just got some nice exposition there. Days pass and Feyre is just continuing on in her depressed state. One day she's laying in her cell looking at the ceiling and she hears music from very far away. Also, sometimes when she stares at the ceiling, she imagines that it's an expansive starry night sky. Once again, do with that information what you will.
Yeah, highlighted that as well. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
um, Feyre never knows where the music is coming from, but it does help her kind of snap out of it. And she realizes that she doesn't want to die. She wants to keep trying. Also, while hearing this music, she sees visions of a palace in the sky and she weeps to be so close. She needs to be there. Everything I wanted was there. The one I loved was there. So close. This makes her think of Tamlin, though, about touching him, about him touching her. She remembers that his love is what she's fighting for.
Okay. Why is she thinking of Tamlin at a palace high in the sky? Like, this music is making her think of a palace high in the sky. That is not the Springcourt Manor. Why is
Right,
she thinking of this?
right.
But I do think it's
Well,
important to note that it's the one
right.
that she loved was there.
So, yeah,
Again, do with that
right.
information what you will.
The one that I love is there. I am in love with Tamlin, so therefore I'm thinking about
It must be
Tamlin.
him.
So close to
So
getting
close.
it right. All right.
Uh,
We've officially are unable to keep it together.
I know, I
The
can't.
second half of this book. Whatever. Doesn't matter. All right. We cut to Feyre at another party, possibly her last party ever, because the last task is tomorrow. Feyre has been kind of forgotten about. Rhysand's busy with another fairy lady, so Feyre's just sort of lurking by a wall, waiting for him to notice her again. She's dressed like normal, all painted up, and she's just zoning. She's even said she doesn't bother trying to find Tamlin in the crowd because it had become difficult to look at him in recent days. I'm like, is it because you are disillusioned with the fact that he makes absolutely no response to you when you look at him, or because you know time is running out? I guess it could go either way.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
Both. Hmm.
Um, then the next thing she knows, though, someone is standing right beside her and she realizes, it's Tamlin. Then he like nonchalantly walks away and slips through a door, and Feyre follows him. It's like implied they're being covert. I just don't see how they possibly could be. Like, how are they
No.
getting away with this?
Exactly. They're the two like most important beings there, and they're being watched, even if
Mhm.
they don't think they're being watched. I don't know why they thought that this was
Yeah.
sneaky or attainable to get
Desperate
away. Yeah.
times. Desperate
Yeah.
times. So finally, they're alone together and they start making out hardcore. Tamlin's touching her all over and taking off parts of her dress. She's trying to take off his pants.
Just this waste of time for both of you
What
right
are
now.
you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are stupid. Sorry, go ahead.
Rhysand interrupts them though and gives them a reality check. So Tamlin puts his clothes back on and Rhys vanishes all the paint off of Tamlin because he was touching all up on Feyre. And then Tamlin sneaks back out. Tamlin does say "I love you" to Feyre, which finally, like your voice does work. That's cool. Rhys then pins Feyre's arms to the wall and is like, "Why are you so stupid?" That's an excellent question. We wonder the same. Don't you know what would happen if Amaranth had caught you? And Feyre's like, "What do you care?" Rhys is all, "What do I care? What do I care?" Well, we'll never know because Rhys hears something and he starts kissing Feyre. She's like trying to get him off, and then the door swings open and Amarantha's there with Tamlin. Amarantha is so happy that she caught them doing this. Tamlin, of course, face of stone, and she's like, "I knew it. Humans are all the same. Human trash with your inconstant, dull hearts." Like, okay, first of all, Amarantha, I'm like, girl, you're like,
She's crazy.
you're
Crazy pants.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's like, could you have, like, can we have a cunning female villain that's cool? You know what I mean? Why does she
Yeah.
have to be a crazy bitch? All
Yeah.
right. I digress. Okay. Uh, now that the lights are on, Feyre can see all the parts of her body that Tamlin had touched. And Rhys has paint on his hands, but he only touched her waist. So, and of course, Tamlin is mad, or at least Feyre assumes he's mad. And I think, and then Feyre gets like sent back to her cell after this. Rhys is like, "I'm done with you. Off with you," or whatever. And then in the middle of the night, Rhys comes to Feyre's cell, and she can still feel Rhys's mouth on hers. I guess his kiss totally overrode Tamlin's. Like, she's not even thinking about Tamlin's kiss. Okay. It's just weird. I don't know. She's
There
not
it is.
remembering Tamlin's lips on hers. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
it's just interesting to me.
It's just interesting. Very interesting. Mm-hmm.
Um So Rhysand has just come for a moment of peace and quiet from the mess. He hates Amarantha, and she makes him serve in her bedchamber. So he's been raped for the last 49 years. So there is that. Feyre's confused about why he's telling her this, but she's the only one he can talk to because she has no power. Basically, it's like safe for him to tell her. Rhysand reminds Feyre about what's at stake tomorrow and tells her he's basically doing everything he's been doing to try to make Tamlin as angry as possible so that when Amarantha is vulnerable, his rage will fuel him to defeat her. And Rhysand doesn't touch Feyre beyond her waist or her arms because it's the only claim to innocence he has, and hopefully it will be enough to stop Tamlin from trying to fight him.
I think this is an uber important insight into Reese's character. He is scheming and planning, but we also just found out that he has been forced for the last 49 years to be in Amarantha's bed. And I think he is making a point to Feyre that he would not do that to her. And he is just trying to get Tamlin upset enough to fight. And I think he's also kind of like, hey, if we both survive this, if you could please tell him that I did not touch you inappropriately, that would be really appreciated. Also, like it's a little bit of
Yeah.
that too. But yeah, he's been forced for the last 49 years under the mountain.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah. Sorry.
Um, yes, and he wants Feyre to be successful. he wants her
Mhm.
to defeat Amarantha.
Yeah, because she's gonna
Um
save all of Prythian if she does. It's not just
Mhm.
Tamlin that she's fighting for right now. It's the
Right,
hope that
right.
yeah, Rhys is playing the long game with this. He's hoping that if Feyre is successful, that Tamlin will defeat Amarantha. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. Plus, along with all of that, he's saying if it does come to Rhys and Tamlin having a feud, a lot of innocent people will end up dying. He doesn't want that. We find out that Amarantha targeted Rhys and is punishing him the way she has because Rhys's father killed Tamlin's father, and Tamlin's father was Amarantha's friend. So Rhysand is like, so now all of our fate rests in the hands of an illiterate human. God damn it, Rhys. Don't remind Feyre that she's illiterate and that she's a human. Feyre's starting to realize that Rhys knew people were coming into the little room Tamlin and her were making out in, and that's why he started kissing her and why he touched her so that the paint, would be hidden, whatever. Maybe he was doing it to make Amarantha jealous, but no, Feyre's pretty sure he was kissing her to cover up the fact that Feyre and Tamlin had kissed and that Tamlin had touched her.
And I also would like to point out that there is a very strong chance that Rhys just got raped again for that. I really feel like Amarantha forced him after that happened to reclaim him. So,
Gross.
yeah.
Poor
So he
Rhys.
so he just saved Feyre and Tamlin from, who
Mm.
knows what, and yeah.
Yeah, that's why he's coming to visit
Rhys.
Feyre.
I know. I
Um,
know.
ugh.
Yeah.
So yeah, Feyre doesn't understand what Rhys's motives are, and obviously his methods are fucked up, but he's keeping her alive and had done so even before she set foot under the mountain. He saved her on Fire Night. He gave Amarantha the wrong name. Rhys is like, well, said too much. If you're smart, you'll use it against me. It does seem like they come to sort of like a truce in this moment.
Mhm. Yes, 100%.
Two of
She
them,
doesn't
yeah.
trust him. She doesn't, like, fully understand his motives yet, but she's still also feeling like he's the only ally that she's had, and she's starting to realize that he has
Yeah.
been actually her ally despite everything that has happened. So,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, he's helped her a lot.
a
A
lot.
lot.
So
And she would have been
much.
squished by
Yep.
the ceiling if he hadn't
Mhm.
helped her. So, for the third and final task, Feyre is given back her old clothing. It's gross / hasn't been washed, but okay. Also, I'm just realizing like I have no idea what she was wearing before if she makes a point to say she's given her old clothing back. There's like no point where I mean, I know she's wearing the like see-through dress, but not all the time. What
I
else has she
know
been wearing? When
that was
what?
such an excellent point. I'm like, "Has she been naked? Like, what is
Yeah.
going on?" I'm so confused.
Like, when did they give you new clothes? And
I know.
why weren't we told about that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Whatever. So Feyre's taken to the throne room. There's a huge crowd. Everybody's there, but instead of them being like loud and rambunctious like they've been the other times and like betting on what's gonna happen, everyone's silent. I mean, this does affect everybody in the room. And this reaction makes it seem like a lot more of them were just acting while being here. And now they're like, okay,
This
it's
is
crunch
the real
time.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
like
real deal now.
something
Yeah.
actually is gonna happen. Yeah, like we got a lot closer than we thought we would. Amarantha's waiting and she's like, wow, I wonder if it's gonna be worse if you fail now when you're so close. Any last words? Feyre just looks at Tamlin and says, I love you, no matter what she says about it, no matter if it's only with my insignificant human heart, even when they burn my body, I'll love you. Amarantha's like, if there's even enough left of you to burn. And Tamlin doesn't react to this. Nothing. I'm like, what is the purpose of doing nothing? The game's up. It's the last thing. Also, I'm like, there's gonna be nothing left of you. Like this task does nothing to her physical body. Like, what is it
Mhm.
talking about? Anyway, I guess if she
Yeah.
like freaks out or something. Um,
Uh, like, but yeah, even in the at this point or even the last month, like, why why is he still acting so unaffected by things? It just doesn't seem like there's a good
yeah,
rhyme or reason for it anymore. Like, it's
no,
literally the final task. I feel like you should unless he's really just hoping that if he can keep it together and hopefully she'll
mm-hmm.
succeed, that he'll just that he can kinda hold it all until then. I don't know, but I agree. It
Yeah,
seems like there's no point anymore to be that way, so
yeah, yeah. And I mean, the second part of the book, it's over and over again. It's just reiterated how he's doing nothing,
Mhm.
impassive, no reaction. Like I highlighted every single time, and there's probably like 10 or 11
Mhm.
descriptions of him doing nothing. So anyway, Amarantha's also like, "You never figured out my riddle, did you? God, you're so stupid." The answer is so wonderful. And Feyre's like, "Whatever, let's just get this over with." Tamlin also doesn't have any final words for Feyre. Rude, but okay, trial starts. 3 figures are led into the throne room, 2 males and 1 female with brown sacks over their heads. The task is Feyre has to kill 3 innocent fairies. Not that it'll matter to her because it wasn't a concern that day in the forest when she killed Andress. It wasn't a concern when Jurian killed Amarantha's sister. But if it is a problem, Feyre can refuse and Amarantha will just kill her. So, super fair. Um, but she's like, "But you should love this Feyre because you love murdering fairies." Like, oh my God. This is like rage bait.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Um, yeah.
And I just like want to point out that Feyre said earlier in the book she didn't like to hunt. It was just a necessity. And she specifically asked Tamlin not to take her hunting on one of their first like one-on-one outings that they go to. So like, yeah, she
Mhm.
killed the wolf, blah blah blah, but I still argue that it was still a survival thing. It or
Yeah,
additional
100%.
so all of this and so now she's like, I don't want to kill for sport. That's not my thing. I killed for animals for survival and not for this.
Right,
So
right.
it just
And
yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's just rage bait. Like it's
Yes.
so clearly just like, "Grr." And she thought it was a wolf. She
Yeah.
thought it was a wolf. Like,
Mhm. Exactly.
how many times we have to say it? Um, so yeah, I mean, this sucks for Feyre. This really is a horrible position to be in. But I have also seen people talking about it being like, who fucking cares? She doesn't know these fairies. This is the easiest task. Just kill them. I'm like, yeah, that's a good
I
perspective,
mean,
Feyre. Just suck it up.
forget
um,
about your morality and your soul
yeah.
and anything else that you maybe still are clinging
Yeah.
to. Just forget
Whatever.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, she does not want to kill these fairies, but she's also like, if I kill these fairies, I've set all of Prythian free for Amarantha. Your classic case of sacrifice a few for the many. Amarantha makes sure her little eyeball ring of Jurian is on full display so it can see what's happening. Feyre's given 3 ashwood daggers to kill the fairies. So, yeah, it's cold-blooded murder. She's struggling a lot. It's not like hunting, which when she killed Andres, it's just stupid. And again, it's just rage baiting. It is working. We're angry. So Feyre steps up to the first kneeling figure, and it's a young high fae lordling who is begging for his life. But Feyre steals herself and she kills him. It really sucks. Reese is in her mind also, like encouraging her and being like, "You have to do it," etc. So he's helping her again. Okay. 1 down, 2 to go. Feyre steps up to the next, and it's a woman. This woman, though, seems to have accepted her fate, and she's praying. She's like, "Just do it," like, kind of silently.
And she starts chanting the same prayer as the fairy who had its wings ripped off. So Feyre
Mm,
knows that this fae has accepted her fate. Like she knows she's going to die, just like the fairy who had its wings ripped off knew that that
okay.
was coming
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so Feyre does it. She's really upset. I mean, I don't blame her. That would suck.
Yeah.
I would not want to kill anybody. Then the last hood is taken off of the last victim, and what do you know? It's fucking Tamlin. What? And the
I
Tamlin next to Amarantha on the dais turns back into the adder. Okay, so at least we know why that Tamlin was being a piece of shit
Yeah.
before. But Feyre has been tricked, and Amarantha is so fucking happy. She's like, "Oh my god, is something wrong?" And of course, Feyre's like, "This isn't fair." And Amarantha's all, "I wasn't aware that humans knew what fair was. Really? Really? How many humans have you actually known? You're so upset for humans not being fair. You're the most unfair person ever. I can't even deal with it."
Just the worst. And like you killed all of your slaves, your human slaves. There's no way you've never interacted with humans before.
Eh, yeah,
They're
it's
not.
just,
Oh my god! Like
it's just
again,
ridiculous.
Amarantha is the biggest bitch to ever bitch.
Mhm.
Fucking hate
Yeah.
her so much. Okay.
Yeah. So then Amarantha's like, "Well, you could always kill yourself. Like, do you think it'd be really worth it to succeed but not have Tamlin with you? It's just so tragic. But I know you'll move on so easily, just like all humans do." Again, the feeling of impotent rage as a reader, so real. Every time I feel that, though, too, I'm like, does this mean the author's doing a good job? Because I'm
Because it's making
feeling
me feel the
emotions,
things.
but I'm also
Yeah.
like, no, I'm just angry. Um, Tamlin, meanwhile, his eyes are bright and defiant. He's not looking away. He's just staring at Feyre. Feyre's still trying to decide what the hell she's going to do. She's spiraling, etc., etc. Then she remembers how Alice told her to listen to what she hears. And there was that one more thing that they weren't allowed to tell Feyre, blah, 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 because it was still important. And through a series of, in my opinion, impossible seeming revelations, Feyre realizes that some of the things she overheard in the spring court that she thought she was eavesdropping on and being sneaky about, she was actually allowed to overhear. So there are two instances. One, she was eavesdropping on Lucien and Tamlin, and Lucien said something about Tamlin having a heart of stone. And then the Adder also said something about Tamlin's heart of stone while Feyre was glamored from it in the garden. And Feyre realizes this isn't just a metaphor. It's not a turn of phrase. Tamlin actually has a heart of stone, and that's how Amarantha controls him. So I guess all the High Lords have hearts of stone. I don't know. I actually hate this, like, a lot.
And this is it's funny. Because I think it comes up in Wings of Ruin. There is additional context around the stone heart, specifically why Tamlin has one. And I cannot remember the specificities of it, but I believe we do find out later on what the answer to this is.
Yeah.
But there is a reason behind it. And but yeah, again, the way that she came to this conclusion, I'm like, that's the giantest leap I've ever seen. But
yeah,
I mean, yeah. I mean, she's
absolutely
like, well,
crazy. Yeah.
Try it, I guess.
Well, right. Then also another piece of evidence, she's never felt or heard Tamlin's heartbeat, no matter how close she has been to him. It's not very often I hear someone's heartbeat. You know what I mean?
No.
Whatever. Definitely enough evidence. She's sure she's right. Gotta love her conviction. Also, I do feel very nervous because we know how wonderful her logic is when she was picking the fucking levers. So with her being like, I'm so sure I'm right. I have to be right. I'm like, I don't know anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, I really don't like this, but Feyre's like, I love you. And then she stabs Tamlin. Tamlin cries out as the blade pierces him, but then there's resistance and a faint thunk as Feyre hits something really hard. She pulls out the dagger and its tip has been nicked. So he really does have a heart of stone. So sorry, excuse me. I have to pick up my eyeballs. They fell out of my fucking head when I rolled my eyes. I was like, also, do you think this is how he's able to completely not react to anything the whole time? Feyre's under the mountain because
maybe
he actually has a heart of stone.
Mm-hmm. And just his demeanor throughout the entire book.
Right.
In general.
Like, how is his blood getting through his body? He's not, what the?
I know.
Okay. So anyway.
It's magic.
I have a bone to pick. Sarah. Okay. Phew. Thank the cauldron. Tamlin isn't dead, but he is hurt pretty bad. The wound is starting to heal, but it's taking a super long time, guessing because of the whole Ashwood business. Amarantha is furious. The crowd's also starting to get a little rowdy. They're like, she won, free them. Hello. And Amarantha's like, oh, no fucking way. I'm going to free them when I feel like it. Maybe after Feyre is dead. IDK. I never specified when I would free them. Just berating Feyre, basically. Just like, you stupid idiot. God, you're so dumb. I only said if you answered the riddle, I'd free you immediately. I never said a timeline on freedom after completing the task. How stupid are you? She's just like losing it.
And this, like, Feyre should have been worried earlier about the specificities of the timeline of being free after she completed the task. Your fears are coming to fruition right in front of your eyes right now.
Yeah. Ugh. Amarantha starts to descend from the dais and comes toward Feyre like, I'm gonna kill you now, actually. I'm gonna make you pay for your insolence for winning the task that I set for you. How dare you? Like, win the trial. God!
How dare you figure these things out and defeat me?
Yeah. Right. So Feyre is being horribly tortured and Amarantha's just off the deep end, man. She's like, admit you don't really love him and I'll spare you. Admit what a cowardly, lying, inconstant bit of human garbage you are. By this point, I was like, you need therapy. Like, let's just, also, right. Yeah. The whole thing with Jurian, it's like, just hate him instead of humans in general. It's like one dude that betrayed your sister. got solid revenge on him. You have his eyeball in a ring. But is this like another typical case of a girl being held responsible for a man's actions? Can you believe it?
Mm, I
Tamlin.
cannot believe
Yeah.
it.
I am shocked.
Shocked.
Yeah. Tamlin's still recovering, continuing to be useless like he has been this whole book. Rhysand, though, screams Feyre's name. She thinks he's yelling my name like he cares. Oh, Feyre, you sweet summer child. Feyre's blacking out from the pain, and Amarantha is bringing her back. Again, she's gone completely batshit. It
She's
really
like
can't be
killing
overstated
her,
enough.
like on the verge of killing her, and then like giving her magic to kind of like heal her and bring her back so that she can try to kill her again. And when I was reading this part, I was like, I think that's what she did to Jurian for
Oh, yeah,
weeks
100%.
on end.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
She's like really loved her sister, I guess. But anyway, hey, you know what? This is what happens when evil masterminds, their meticulous plans go awry. Rhys starts trying to attack Amarantha, but she's still powerful enough that she's keeping him back. And now Amarantha's mad at Rhysand for being a traitor, so she's attacking him. And Feyre's telling Amarantha not to hurt Rhysand. Wrong thing to say. That's just another human trick. Why would a human care about a fairy? But yeah, Feyre's just getting closer and closer to death. Amarantha really wants Feyre to admit that she does not love Tamlin, and Feyre's all, never! I will never say that. Tamlin finally starts to talk, and he's begging Amarantha to stop, and he's sorry for what he said about Clythia all those years ago. But Amarantha ignores him, and as all this is going on, Feyre starts remembering the riddle, and slowly she starts to realize, oh my God, the answer is love. Spare me. I really didn't want the answer to be love. Also, how is love the answer to both of your things? Love is the answer to your curse, and love is the answer to your riddle? That seems crazy.
It seems like it was supposed to be almost like too obvious. Like it couldn't have been, yeah, but I agree. It was a little too easy for that.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
also would love if like the answer to the riddle hadn't been based on a theme in the book. Like Jared was guessing that the answer was going to be fate or something,
Oh, yeah.
something like
it.
that. And I'm like, yeah, what if it was just like wind or time or a mountain, like something totally random, but I guess I get it. It needs to be.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Feyre answers the riddle, and then Feyre's spine is cracked. Just in time.
I did cry. I've read this book a couple times. I cried right here. I did. Just so we're aware. Yeah.
I was like, thank God, Feyre's dead. Just kidding.
I have emotional emotions, okay? I got sad.
Oh, man. Okay, so now Feyre's far away, but she's still seeing stuff. It turns out she's in Rhysand's consciousness since they're connected through the tattoo. Amarantha kind of relaxes because Feyre's body is horribly maimed. Her neck is snapped. But before her body died, or whatever, she did answer the riddle, and Amarantha did just helpfully reiterate the terms of answering the riddle, so Tamlin's full power is back, baby. Tamlin turns into his beast form and attacks Amarantha, who has the audacity to whisper please before she gets got. I'm like,
oh, fuck
are you
her.
kidding me? Yeah. Tamlin stabs her through the head and then rips her throat out. Honestly, much too quick of a death, in my opinion. Why did we kill her so quickly?
100%. I know.
Rhysand does not approach Feyre's corpse. He's staying on the other side. Tamlin has turned back into himself, though, and he's cradling Feyre and crying. Lucian's also very sad and crying. Cammie's crying.
We're all crying. We're all crying in this scene. Okay. No.
But then someone appears beside Lucian, and it's his father, who approaches Feyre and gives her a little, I don't know, sparkle of his magic. And then all the High Lords also approach and give Feyre a sparkle of their magic. And then from something Rhysand says, I think he's giving him his sparkle. He says, it doesn't seem like it's totally without precedent. But it hasn't happened in a very long time.
Again. Important. It hasn't happened in a very long time. Okay. Sorry.
Yep. And then Tamlin says, I love you, and kisses Feyre as he gives her his little drop of magic too. So then Feyre wakes up. She's not in pain. She's all healed, and everything is in crystal clear HD. She's like, oh my God, I don't remember upgrading to this plan. Turns out she's been turned immortal, which I feel like I always expect something like this to happen. It's like just didn't know how it would happen. I'm like, you can't
Right.
just continue to be a human in this world. You're completely useless.
Right. You almost, like, wondered if it was gonna be some type of, I don't know, spell. We've heard spells used in this book in other
Mhm.
instances, or if, like, or if maybe
Yeah.
Tamlin had the power to do so, or she asked him about mates, maybe if they were mates, like, if they
Mm.
had a human mate, would that turn them fey or something like that?
Right,
But
right. Yeah, like, maybe not
yeah.
that she would become a fairy, and
Oh,
be
right,
powerful
but
and stuff, but at least, like,
granted.
immortal.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Yes, yes.
Totes. She can't just be regular
Mhm.
smegular human forever. But Farrah's like, "Fuck, I'm still alive. Now I have to deal with all the guilt and sorrow of what I had to do here." Tamlin tells her this was the only way they could save her, and Feyre sees then Amarantha's body pinned to the wall. And when she turns around to look at Tamlin, he's taking off his mask and he looks exactly how she dreamed he would. And they embrace. Tamlin also has a heartbeat again. Yeah, I just need more context about the stone
Yeah.
heart
Yes.
malarkey. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not my fave. Cut to Feyre now sitting on the edge of a bed, and Tamlin's inspecting some of her remaining wounds, and he keeps healing them. This is the first time they've been alone together since the showdown. It's been a couple of hours since Amarantha's death. Everyone's now dealing with the drama slash aftermath of everything. All the bad fairies have fled, along with Lucian's brothers. Reese is kind of keeping a low profile too. The Spring Court, though, is free. They're all happy. They were thanking Tamlin and Feyre. There have been meetings in the throne room, like who's on which side, what are the next steps going to be, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So now Feyre and Tamlin are alone, and Feyre's still getting used to Tamlin not having a mask on. And Tamlin's all, how could I ever repay you for what you did? Hey, hey, remember when you told Feyre she wouldn't be able to survive what you have to endure? What did you have to endure, Tamlin? Sitting there, being silent, doing nothing?
Exactly, and watching her die does not count. I mean, he did not do shit to help her. If he thinks remaining silent
Yeah.
was the best, I think I've already said this. Maybe he thought Amarantha would leave her alone more in between tasks if he wasn't, like, reacting to things that were happening to her.
Mhm.
But I feel like that could have backfired on him and had made things worse. Like, if Amarantha would have been
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you don't care about her? Well, then let's just get rid of her. Like, you don't care at
Right,
all."
yeah.
Like, it could have really it
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't happen that way, but I think it could have. I don't know. I
Yeah.
have
Ugh.
conflicted feelings on I don't think he should have done nothing, and I also can, like, see his logic as to why he acted the
Mhm.
way he did, but I still, Feyre needed you and you didn't do anything, so that's what I have
Right.
a major problem with, so, yeah.
Yeah, right. But anyway, Farrah's like, "Literally, don't even mention it. In fact, let's just forget about the whole thing. I don't wanna think about it." She really doesn't wanna talk about anything or think about what she's been through.
Don't shove those feelings down, babe. I mean, you'll drown. You will.
No.
But yeah, don't
No,
do
no.
nothing. Yeah,
You've gotta bottle up feelings. Feelings are bad. Push them, push them way
Please
down.
stay.
Ugh, feelings, get them off me. Um, Tamlin also tells Feyre they'll find a way out of her bargain with Reese. Like, don't even worry. And then they do it.
Ugh, okay. I mean,
She
she's been
needs
in a
to
cell for 3 months. I don't know how
she needs
much
to
cleaning.
forget.
Yeah.
She needs to forget. Magic
Yeah,
got all the
that's
dirt off
true.
of her.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but basically Feyre is Lady Macbeth now because she just feels like no matter what, she's always going to have blood on her hands from those fairies. Can never be washed off. Feyre wakes later. She's feeling a tugging inside of her, and so she follows that tugging, and it leads her to Rhysand, who's outside of the mountain. He's like found a little doorway. It's like they went upstairs and are like on a I don't know, overhang on the side of the mountain or something. And Feyre asks what Rhys wants. He just wanted to say goodbye before, he says, before your beloved whisks you away forever. And she's like, shut up. There's still the bargain. Don't even play. Then she asks him why he fought against Amarantha. And he says he wanted the legends to remember him standing up for what was right, basically. And he didn't want Feyre to die alone.
And I think he wanted to get rid of his abuser and rapist. Of course he
Right,
hated
right.
her.
Yeah.
Duh.
Just be like,
Yeah.
Amarantha sucks and I wanted her to die. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um yeah, Farrah's like, "Oh my god, I totally get that. That's how I felt about the blue fairy, and that got its wings ripped off. I didn't want it to die alone." Um, Reese has his wings out, so Feyre asks him if he's gonna fly home, but no, it's too far. He does love flying though, but he keeps his wings hidden because everything I love always has a tendency to be taken from me. I tell very few about the wings or the flying.
Reese, stop it. You're gonna make me cry.
Reason. Yeah,
Reese.
you get some good little Easter eggs on the reread.
The other thing with this too, I just want to say, I feel like we get more out of these, what, 4 or 5 true interactions that she has with Reese, of his personality, of his outlook on life, on a lot. I mean, you get his cunning side, you get his strategery that he always has into play, and I feel like you
Mhm.
get nothing of Tamlin the
No.
entire book. You get nothing. And she has 5 interactions with Reese, maybe max, that we actually have like conversation between the two of them, and their connection feels so much more prevalent than she ever had with Tamlin. So,
Right, I mean, and especially the second half of the book, Tamlin's not in it at all. He
no.
doesn't speak at all, and now we have, like, Rhysand comes in, and he's the new person. Even Lucian's gone, you know, I mean, he
Yes.
shows up a little bit, but
Mhm.
the majority of her interactions now with a dude is Rhys. Like, Tamlin's
Mhm.
just not in this part of the book. So, in the first half, yeah, we really don't learn anything about him, and then the second half is like, he's not even there.
Exactly. Yeah, so he feels like a non-important character almost at this point. It's like,
Mhm.
and like you said, I've reread this book a couple times and I know where things are going with the series. So I have, some bias, and I think that cuz when we finish this, I'll tell you probably about like my initial thoughts of this book when I first read it versus rereads and that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
but yeah, I don't feel like we ever get that much depth from Tamlin at any point, but Rhysand, we get a lot of depth very quickly with his character. So it's just an
Yeah.
interesting, difference.
Juxtaposition.
Exactly. Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Feyre is also noticing that some color is coming back to Rhysand's skin already just from being able to go outside in this last, like, couple of hours. But I just had to point that out because this whole time he's been described as, like, moon white, super pale, which, ew. And,
Yeah.
it turns out that he can probably tan, so yes, he needs to get a tan pronto.
Oh, yeah.
Right away.
Agreed. Yeah.
Um, so then Reese asks Feyre how it feels to be high fae, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know. My heart's still human." And he's like, "That's a good thing." Anyway, bye for now. And as he's starting to fade away, he goes rigid. They lock eyes, and I'm just gonna read this whole part. One moment. He goes, "Well, goodbye for now," he said, rolling his neck as if we hadn't been talking about anything important at all. He bowed at the waist, those wings vanishing entirely, and had begun to fade into the nearest shadow when he went rigid. His eyes locked on mine, wide and wild, and his nostrils flared. Shock, pure shock flashed across his features at whatever he saw in my face, and he stumbled back a step. Actually stumbled. "What is—" I began. He disappeared, simply disappeared, not a shadow in sight, into the crisp air. Huh, so weird. It's probably not important at all.
Just totes normal reaction to everything that's going on. I don't have a quiet face. I can't. I
Yeah.
just can't.
Um, she's like, "Oh, that was weird." So anyway, then
Whatever.
Tamlin and Feyre, after some amount of time, not sure how long, leave under the mountain. They leave the way that Feyre came in, and the whole court has been completely destroyed and sealed off. No one ever wants to come back. The only other significant thing to note is that Jurian's eyeball and fingerbone disappeared after Amarantha's death, which seems like it should be a bigger deal. But yeah, no one seems to care. But yeah, Tamlin and Feyre get back to the spring court and admire the beautiful view, and Alice's nephews are running around. Yay, everyone's happy! At least in this moment. Feyre will deal with her trauma later. The end. We did it!
All right. One book out of we've
Yay!
got only 7 more to do
Yeah,
before we can do
it's
this.
April.
I know.
um,
We're fine. Yeah.
totally. Anyway, well,
Yeah.
that was fun.
It was.
What? Tell me your thoughts.
Okay.
What is your
S
rating?
so I do have to say when I first read this book, it was in the 4 to 4.5 star realm for me for sure.
Mhm.
I thought that it was very engaging. I thought it's very fast-paced. You get, there's a lot of action in it, from kind of beginning to end. It does have, like, some slower parts, but that is more for the tension or the buildup for what's to come, I think. Um, Rereading it and then after reading the future books in the series, this is probably more of, like, a 3 to 4-star read for me, like 3 to 3.5. I still really liked it and still
Mhm.
enjoyed it, but I do think that it is the worst book in the series compared to the other ones. So, that being said, I mean, I still really liked it and enjoyed it, and you can't have the rest of the series without this first book. Everything that happens in this book has to
Yeah,
happen for everything else to happen. So,
totally.
conflicting. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I gave it 3. I forgot we don't use stars.
I know, I just said that too. I was like,
Yeah.
"Shoot."
Shit. I guess
Yeah.
I gave it 3 eyeballs.
Oh, I was gonna say, masquerade masks.
Hey, that's good.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, I gave it 3 when I read it the first time too, and
Okay.
I'm giving it 3 again. I mean, easy book to read. It was fun.
Mhm.
It wasn't like I was forcing myself to read it even though
No.
Feyre does annoy the shit out of me. But I also like, the first time I read it, she didn't annoy me. I agree though that I think this is the weakest book in the series, and I knew there was more. I was
Right.
committed already to
Right.
reading 4 books, and I knew some shit went down in book 2, so I was excited to get to book 2. Um, if, like, TikTok didn't exist and I just read this book and didn't know, and, I don't know if I would have
Right.
kept reading the
Yeah.
series. But yeah, I mean, I read it. I would reread it again, if I was gonna read the whole series and
Series.
stuff. But yeah, I don't know. There are some
Yeah.
flaws. There's some
Yeah.
plot holes.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that,
Um, uh,
it is just interesting because there is a lot of stuff that comes back in the future books that are directly related to things
mhm.
that happen here, and I think there's a lot of stuff that is, that doesn't seem significant or important that is very significant and important later on,
Yeah, yeah.
which is I think that that's fun, and that's what's really nice about rereading these and finding these Easter eggs and doing a little bit more in-depth analysis versus, like I
Mhm.
said, even with the riddle, like, the first time through reading it, I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna kinda, like, skim through this because there's, like, this much of this book left. There's no way that she solves it right now or quickly," or, I'm like, "These tasks are what
Yeah,
is
yeah,
going to be
yeah.
happening." But there's some
Mhm.
things um, that felt way too easy, but then I also think that there was some stuff that was, like, so intentional, and that's what I think is pretty incredible with the way that Sarah J. Maas writes, is that she really does a good job of relaying stuff back for to prior books or to prior scene like, you do get there's so much more that happens initially than what you think
Yeah.
does, and that's great. It's kind of fun to read a series like that.
Yeah, 100%. Right, it does feel like she had to have had it planned before,
Mhm,
there's so many little, like, drops all throughout. Um, I
mhm.
will say too, under no circumstances should anyone listen to the dramatized recording of this. It will make you hate Feyre so much, and I think it did taint me on this reread even. I was like, I got over it a little bit 'cause I got past it, but, like, just
Mhm.
the girl is so fucking whiny, like, the way she reads, and it's
Yeah.
so dramatic, and I just don't listen to it. It was
Yeah.
horrible. Um, but it's a fun book. I can definitely,
Mhm.
I can understand why people are obsessed with it, and I can understand why there are people that don't like it.
Right.
You know
I
what I
do, and
mean?
I
I
can
can
totally
totally
get
get it.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
So
think that, like, sometimes and I was kind of in the same thing. I think that all the way through Frost and Starlight, so the novella between 3
mhm.
and
Yeah.
4 were out when I first started reading these, and I'll be perfectly honest, I
Yeah.
read 1 through 3 probably about a week. I all 3 of them I got
Yeah.
done, and then I looked ahead and I found out what Silver Flames who was the main character and what it was centralized around, and that
Mhm.
Frost and Starlight was just a novella, and I was just like, "Alright, well, I'm gonna take a break, I'm gonna go read some other stuff," and then,
Mhm.
someone of course book talk or whatever, they're like, "No, Silver Flames is really good." I was like, "Well, I guess I should go back." And then I was like,
Mhm.
"Why did I stop?" Like, I wish I wouldn't have taken so much time almost between Wings of Ruin and Frost and Starlight, and then because I had to
Yeah,
kinda get myself
back
reacquainted.
in
So
the
I'm excited to kinda do this
mhm.
more linearly than I ever have done because when I have reread the series, I only reread 1 through 3. I have not
Oh,
ever
okay.
reread Frost and Starlight or
Yeah.
Court of Silver Flames, so I'm
Well, I have
excited to go back through and reread
never
those.
read A Court of Silver Flames. I can barely remember Frost and Starlight, like and
It's
I can't really
pretty
remember book 3 either. And I don't know why I remember more of book 2. I feel like I remember more parts of it. Also, I will say, like, yeah, probably if you've never read these and, like, I feel like when you read them like you did, or even like I did the
Mhm,
first time, where you're just like,
mhm,
I'm not reading anything else, powering
mhm.
through."
Yeah.
But like any book, probably when you take the time to, like, read it and analyze it, and then you're like, what?" It's like
Like, "Oh, huh,
yeah.
this is interesting." Yeah,
Right, right, right.
and and that's kinda why I was like even when I was going through this, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is huge. This ties into something later." And so it's like, this is
Mhm.
fun to, like, go back through and be like, "Oh,
Yes, yeah.
she really set this up, and, like, how much of this did she have before, or did she write this first
Mhm.
and then be like, ooh, I'm going to, come back to this. I really like this part."
Yeah.
And
I'm
yeah,
always
yeah,
curious how authors do that.
I know.
Um
Me too.
But yes, so I think it is a very satisfying reread because you pick up on a lot of stuff.
Mhm, mhm.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
if you can get
So,
through Feyre talking about how
being a
stupid she
stupid
is.
human all the time.
Stupid
Yeah.
human. What about your
Oh, yeah.
spice rating? This is way less spicy than I remembered. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Or like thought.
Yeah,
I wanna
if
give it like
original
0,
me.
0.5, you know? Like it's nothing.
Yeah. Mhm. There's really none. I mean, there is, like one scene that's probably described at all, and it's very tame. So
Mhm.
maybe one chili pepper. Maybe.
Yeah.
This definitely is more plot, less spice,
Yeah.
or 1,000% more plot than spice. But
Mhm. Yeah.
there's also a reason for that. It's not very
I
discreet.
know, I know. I was thinking that too. It's like, well, isn't that important?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I
Anything
know.
else to say? I also think it should have been like 2 parts because it does feel like 2
Mm.
different books. When she's under the mountain,
Mhm.
it's like totally different than the first half of the
Mhm.
book.
Yes. Even kinda where we split it up, or almost
Mhm.
like when Tamlin sends her back into the human
Yeah.
realm, like, that was part 1, and then her very brief stint in the human realm and then coming back would have been part 2. Like, I
Mm.
really do think
Yep.
it could have easily been split up that way because it really does feel very, very different, the 2
Yeah.
halves of the book.
So different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember, like, the
Mhm.
first time reading it being I don't know, like, not, like, shocked but, just being like, "Wow, this is so different." Like, when she got under the mountain, it's like, "This feels like a
Right.
totally different book than what I was reading before."
And it's just
And you have, like,
it's just
new
it's so much.
characters. All new
Yeah, and
characters.
it's so much darker than I think what you
Mhm.
thought the book was gonna be based upon the first half of the book.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, the adder shows up and yeah, there's some Naga and the Suriel is described as being maybe a little bit
Mhm.
scary to look at, but it's still just it's the second half of the book. It has such a much more ominous and dark feel, but I think Sarah J. Maas, all of her books kind of feel like that
Mhm.
when I think about it. There's a lot of um, information and tension and buildup in the first 75% of the book. And then the last 25% is just total batshit crazy stuff
Yeah.
that happens. So, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And a lot of it's
Love
pretty
it.
dark. So, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it is. So,
yeah.
all right, well, I don't
I
think I
think
have
that's it for now.
anything else to
Yeah.
add.
I mean, I'm
All
making
right.
my list of things that I wanna discuss about the books and questions and
Oh,
fan
good.
theories and that kinda stuff. So I think that after we finish the series, we can maybe do just an episode and discuss all of those and talk about some of the important parts
Yeah.
that we've highlighted or, inserted our significant,
Yeah, yeah,
stuff
yeah.
with. So,
That'll be
yeah, yeah.
fun. Tell me I don't know any
Yes.
theories, so that'll be fun for me.
Mhm. Went down the book talk rabbit hole a lot with some of these.
Yeah, I
So,
believe
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yes.
All right. Cool. Well, thanks for listening. If you did that,
Mhm.
we love you.
And we love you.
Bye.
Bye.